Hi. Hello. Hi, guys. How's it going? I like the moment I turn my mic on, Griffin's downstairs like, I'm kind of off-centered here, aren't I? Hi. Hello. Hello. Hey, guys, if you're a member, I'm gonna turn the, hold on, let me turn off the mic in my headset so I'm not hearing what's going on outside. Okay. Well, maybe I won't get a little, or as much distracted as I am right now with everything going on downstairs. It's been an afternoon, okay? I had to take Sparrow to her ballet class, and then I came home and pressed the live button, basically. Also, though, oh, ballet was great. Thank you for asking. I just found the Mckamy Manor video yesterday. Good, I'm glad you guys are here. You like my headband? This is my excuse for not making my hair look cute today. Thank you. Amy Louise, thank you for renewing your membership. Dude, I swear, the noise in my house right now. Did you guys see Reckless Ben's upload today? If you haven't, you should, because it was a masterpiece. I watched it twice. Yes, I did. It was so good. If you haven't watched any of that series yet, I highly recommend you do. Start from episode 1. I think someone has uploaded episode 2, like as a re-upload on another channel. So if you're not on his Patreon, you can watch it, but it got taken off of YouTube because Russ and his cult mass reported it, and it got taken down. So, yeah, it was very, very good. Today's video was. They're all good. All of his videos are good. But the one today, like, I almost cried at the end. It was, like, emotional. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, it's almost uplifting in the way where, like, not for Russ, of course. Russ is probably freaking the hell out. But for us, it's very exciting to think that something might actually happen this time, because people have been trying to take down Mckamy Manor for years, and Ben's really out here doing the most. I don't know. Speaking of who's doing what, I have no idea what Griffin's doing. Child? He's fine. He's just whining. My husband's downstairs and stuff. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, absolutely watch it after this live if you haven't. Let me see here. Let me dismiss my pinned message there. Put it on live chat. Make sure you lick the stream. And also, oh, Kayla, hi. Thank you. Love your cover on all this. I appreciate it. I appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. Now, the episode that we're going to watch today, from the Surviving Life interviews, is of Russ McKamey's daughter, Lindsay. And it's... What? What am I doing? Oh, I don't know. Just hanging out. I'm hanging out with 121 people. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry for the distractions. Once we get going here, I'll turn off my mic and let it go while things are happening downstairs. But his Patreon is totally worth it. Abso-freaking-lutely it is. Like, for anyone who's, like, ever considered maybe that you would, like, join my Patreon and to support me, no. If you're gonna pick between me and Ben, go support Ben. His Patreon is top-tier content. Anywho, another thing I wanted to say. Sorry, I'm getting like thrown all over the place here. Oh, if you're a member, I added some new emojis, and I'm gonna probably add better ones later. This is just what I had time to put together today. So if you're a YouTube member, see if they're showing up first of all, because I haven't even went to see. You love the baby. I love the baby too. I gave birth to him. He's pretty all right. Uh, but we just got home, and my husband's been on the phone with his mom since we got home. So Griffin's just like trying to hang out with his dad, and his dad is on the phone. So yeah, he's just fussing. But oh yeah, see, look, there they are. We got the cats here, everybody. The cats are here. I got emojis of Itty, Pippi, and Pop Tart that I was drawing for merch once upon a time and never did anything with them. So now they're emojis. Anyway, yes, look at them. Aren't they perfect? What? Is that a cat in a box? Where did that come from? Anyway, just wanted you guys to know that those are there. But yeah, okay, so we are watching this. So this is Lindsay McKamy. This is Russ McKamey's daughter. At the time of this interview, which was, I believe, in 2019, she was 21 years old, almost 22. So she's in her mid-20s now. Where did that blue goat come from? Where are all these other emojis coming from? I mean, I guess maybe they're just YouTube defaults. That's funny. But this interview, I've watched through this because I put bits and pieces of it in my Mckamy Manor video. Ron, Pickle Ron, our problem child, he's actually quite tolerable this time around. He does a good job letting Lindsay speak, so he's not much of a bother this time around. I actually think this is a really good interview. Taking bets on how long it takes Ron to interrupt. I mean, he'll interrupt. Telling Ron not to interrupt people is like telling a cow not to moo. So he's going to interrupt people, all right? Now, that being said, it's a really good interview, and I'm excited to watch all of it with you. The other thing is, too, is that I heard, and I don't know where this came from, like, anything like of the sort, but, I heard that the next day after this interview went on, Lindsay came back and was like, oh, I didn't mean anything I said, like backtracked on everything she said. So take that for what you will. I would say, because she sounds very, that might have also been through the grapevine. Like I said, like I didn't really see like a post or anything about it. I might have missed that. I don't know. But yeah, take it with a grain of salt. However, I think that she was truthful. I think she was telling her truth here, and then felt bad about it. The manipulation that Russ just has over people, especially his own children. I would say it's most likely that she was scared, intimidated. I'm not really sure. Not sure what happened there. But anyway, yeah. Our favorite supremacist transphobe, Ron. You know, I still think that he means well and has good intentions, but he's just the worst. Oh, hi, Pippi. That was Holly that backtracked. Oh, Holly backtracked everything? Oh, really? I don't know why I heard it was Lindsay. But also, I thought Holly has, like, spoken multiple times. She has. And she's been on these interviews more than once. So I don't know. But y'all know more than me. Like, I tell you what, when I watched Ben's video today, like, you think you know things about a topic. And then just, like, new shit comes to light. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Like, how much deeper can this go? And it keeps going deeper. So I'm back to a place where I'm like, I have so much to learn. I am extremely invested in just listening to what all these people have to say. So I think that Jackson guy might have been on it. Yeah, been in on it. Do you guys think that Jackson guy was in on it? I don't know. All of us around back then told him to stop interrupting. That's good. I'm glad. No, okay, Alicia, this is or Alicia, whatever, however you say your name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. This was all on the same day. I think he did the past 3 interviews we've watched. I'm pretty sure were all from the same day, like back to back. The last 2 definitely were. I don't know about the one before that, but anyway, yeah, it's a lot. So did I watch the Hulu documentary? I did. Yeah, I thought it was good until there wasn't much of a conclusion, or not a conclusion that I wanted to see anyway. What I wish that the documentary on Hulu would have done was gone more into how it's like fake now, you know, because they kind of left it on a cliffhanger that was like suggesting that if anyone still wants to go have this extreme terror experience, this scorcher experience with Russ, like, if you can still go sign up for it if you want, but just be aware Russ is a terrible guy, when really the truth is that you show up there and you're just rolling around in his front yard. And they didn't really delve into that, and I wish they would have. But that being said, I think the rest of the documentary was really good. I just wish there was more of a conclusion, you know. But I do highly recommend watching it. It's very good. Russ is confused. Yeah, and also on the McCamey Manor Exposed YouTube page, they have uploaded like the full versions of Russ, or not Russ. Well, Russ was there obviously, but Ben and Danny and Jackson and Nathan, them and that Lydia girl with the pizza on all over her. Yeah, he uploaded the live streams from, I think, from both ends in full on that YouTube channel, so you can watch those. I would say watch the one that Ben and Danny did because it's funny, but like the one that's Russ is him just being like off the property for literally like 50 minutes to an hour, like a long time, just off the property. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. You don't know what's going on. It's just annoying, but all of that's up there to watch. So the wrong guy was always a joke. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't around to be in the live chat for these, because I would have been raging. Been like, shut the fuck up. Holly is saying she wasn't A-worded. That's what someone in the chat just said, but I thought it was Lindsay. But someone said Holly, so you guys know more about it than I do, dudes. So she backtracked on some of the things she originally said. Was it some of the things or like all of it? I don't know. Ben is really hot. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear you say that. I do like his little, he has like one of his teeth, he has those, like, not, what do you call it? It's like a crystal implant kind of thing that you get put on top of a tooth. I always thought those were cool. I've always, like, considered getting one of those, and he makes me want to get one on, like, one of my vampire fangs. That'd be fun. I probably will never do that, though. The whole thing's crazy. We're all invested. Everything's fabulous. Now, before I press play, please make sure you go leave a like on the stream. It seems like everyone downstairs from me is no longer, I can turn my mic up here now, no longer making noises. I think they've all gone to the bedroom, so we can watch this in peace. Okay, enough of an introduction. Let's go.
Yeah, it's all good. But thank you so much for reaching out.
Yeah, so weird and wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I think everyone is going to have questions, and I know we talked a little bit before we went live about possible follow-up. I don't want to bombard you too much tonight, so if we were to gather up some questions, and even if you decide you don't want to come back, if I can put them to you in an email, just in case we cover bases. I just don't want you to get too bombarded. Yeah, is that okay? All right. Wow, I'm really looking rough. Okay, so
same.
Thank you, everyone that's joined
Tanya.
us back in. Please like, please share, please pass this around. I think you all know how big a deal this is. And rather than you guys sitting listening to me ramble on for the third show, I'm just going to hand you straight over to Lindsay. And
I'll interrupt Ron while he's talking. I did get a few comments on my deep dive around this part, because people were like, "Oh, that's his daughter." Sure, it is. It's like, do you see her face? Like, the moment I start talking, I swear to God, my child's like, time to scream again. It's fine. She looks just like Russ. Like, I don't want to say just like Russ, because that would be an insult, and she's not ugly, but like at all. But she definitely has his features. Like, you can absolutely tell she is the spawn of Russ. So I mean, unless it's a coincidence and she just so happens to be pretending she's Russ McKamey's daughter and also kind of has a face that looks like his, I don't think so. I understand being skeptical, especially when accusations like these are being made. But no, I would bet money on it that she's legit. So just for the people who are questioning it, no, she is Russ McKamey's daughter. Look at her face. Okay.
Just we'll take it slow. We'll take it slow. So Lindsay, thank you and welcome. I really appreciate you being here. Why don't you just for anyone who has just joined us, why don't you tell us who you are and how you fit into the Mckamy Manor story? I mean, it's fairly obvious, but let's just go down that road. So yeah, tell us all about it.
My name is Lindsay. I am RUSS McKamey's daughter. I have not seen my dad since I was 13, and I'm almost 22 now. My brother and I had a pretty interesting childhood that still affects us to this day, and we've never really talked about it except with like people who we're really close with, because it's really hard to explain, as
I'll
I'm sure
turn
you
her
guys
up. She's
can
a little
understand. It's a
quiet.
very strange situation, but I mean, I don't want to say that I'm jumping on a bandwagon because it sounds like there's negative meaning behind that, but
I think now is the time. I think
you should shut up, Ron.
I mean, I saw Carol make a video. Carol was my stepmom from the ages of 5 to 13, and she just brought back a lot of things that made me be like, oh my god, this was really crazy. And I feel like, I don't want to put my dad on blast here. I don't have a relationship with him, but I do want to say that I don't believe my dad. I don't believe my dad is a bad person. I think that he is sick, and I think that he had a traumatic childhood.
Okay.
And I think that he's lost every single person in his life because of his illness. And he knows that he has it. He knows he's mentally ill. He's dealt with it his entire life. And I don't think that he's a bad guy. I think that he has issues. And that's what I want to say. I want to tell you guys, he's not a pedophile. He never touched my brother and I. In fact, he's quite the opposite of a pedophile. He is terrified of children because he has OCD, because of what happened to him when he was little, that has affected him his entire life, because he is paranoid that he might be a pedophile. But he is not a pedophile.
So this... Ooh.
In my opinion, in my mom's
Where's my
opinion.
mouse? Okay. This adds up with a lot of what people were saying in my comments. It's been a lot of back and forth discourse here regarding the P word allegations. Again, I start talking and my child. Okay, sorry. The discourse around this accusation towards Russ is that he has OCD, and that's where these thoughts come from. So, and like what Lindsay's saying is like, that doesn't make him a P word. That just means, he's too scared to be a P word. So his OCD makes him like just terrified of being perceived as one. And I realize that is a real thing that does happen to some people with certain forms of OCD. However, my issue, and she does not address this, she literally is just, okay, there's so much here. I don't want to discredit anything that Lindsay says in this interview, and while I was saying it's a very good interview, the issue that I have is that I do feel like she is kind of defending Russ a little bit, and it's hard to hold any blame against her because, like, he's her dad, And not only that, not only is he her father, he's also a manipulative person. So it's like, how much can you really blame? And she's only 21 in this, so it's like, she's young, she's been manipulated her whole life. How much blame can we really put on her? However, there are some things that she says here, and I'm sure we'll find them where I'm just like, all right, now that's a bit much. And I think it really just comes down to the fact that, and I said this in my video and I made a lot of people mad, but like, I truly don't think that at this point anyway, 4 years ago or whenever this was, I don't think that she had really processed it from a mature, like, adult point of view, I guess, if that makes sense. But anyway, my problem with the whole, oh, he's not a P word, he's just got OCD, so he's afraid of being perceived as one. My issue comes from what he does with that. All right? So what he does is, okay, yeah, maybe he does have these intrusive thoughts and he doesn't want to have these intrusive thoughts, but what he does with those intrusive thoughts is he goes and he tells whoever he's romantically involved with over and over and over again, not necessarily as a form of sympathy, but more so to be like, ooh, doesn't that bother you? Or should, like, ooh, tell me it's okay, like, tell me it's all right. It's, to me, it's another form of control. It's almost like exploiting his intrusive thoughts, if that makes sense. It's really, really hard to put into words. But yeah, Quinlan, she has a lot of work to do. That's a red flag. Right. It's really, I don't know Russ. He's not my dad, thankfully. He's not any of our dads here, I don't think. But I can't be okay and, like, not critical of what she's saying just because, like, my bias says that I want to believe that Russ is this monster, because, like, I think it's pretty clear to all of us now that he absolutely is. Even if everything that Holly and Carol and Susan said about him wasn't true, there's a bazillion other reasons why we can be like, okay, but he's a piece of shit person because of this and because of that. So it's like, that doesn't deter me from thinking, even if it's not true, it doesn't deter me from thinking that he's still a terrible person. I know Pippi has a lot to say about Gaza. Who has said he's a P besides Holly? Carol and Susan. Yeah, everyone who's been romantically involved with him. Anyway, I just want to put that out there. I do recall, while I was watching this, having some moments where I was like, trying not to be angry at Lindsay for saying some of the things she says. And yeah, Carol and Susan both talked about him. Well, I don't think they said he is a P word. I think they corroborated what Holly said, and said, yeah, he fantasizes about kids. Like, he fantasized about Susan's kid, like, specifically, and told her. Like, see, that's where I'm like, you can't blame it on OCD at that point and be like, you can't get sympathy at that point. Because you're not seeking professional help at that point. What you're doing is you're using just the worst thoughts, some of the worst thoughts that a person can have, and using it to, like, further control, to see how far you can push the people you love, to see how much control you can have over them until they leave. Does that make sense? His daughter was pretty convincing. I don't know. Seems convincing right now, but yeah, later on, I think it just gets it gets bad. Yeah, Quinlan is not afraid to use his wrench. So so one warning. Sorry, I didn't see what any. Yeah, and listen, I realize that these topics of conversation are difficult to have without kind of going into some weird conversation territories. So let's be mindful of that. However, not defending this RUSS guy, I've been diagnosed with POCD, and my thoughts are often of self-harm just out of nowhere. It was a lifetime of hell to learn to deal with. Listen, and I've said this before, but, like, I've had intrusive thoughts too, especially, like, in postpartum times after having kids. It's really, like, I totally get how uncontrollable and terrible and hard to deal with that those thoughts really can be. My issue lies with Russ is not going to get help for these things. He's using it to further grasp onto people, in my opinion. And I think it's really nasty. So, yeah. Russ's daughter is in the wait. Oh, no. No, Quinlan's just a mod who, they know how to use the wrench, if you know what I'm saying. So while it's okay to absolutely defend people with POCD, I think what Russ is doing is he's taking it beyond that, and that's just my opinion. Like, been there, done that with intrusive thoughts and stuff. Like, they're not fun, they're not easy to deal with, but I think the way that Russ uses them is gross. But anyway, you think he's actually Gary Busey? I feel like she thinks he isn't a P because he didn't do something to her or her sibling, but you can be normal with some kids and creepy with others. Yeah, sure. And Holly also said that like they would go to Walmart and she would have to like be like, dude, Russ, like like chasing a toddler around Walmart, a toddler who keeps trying to stray off and go to the toy aisle, but with Russ instead he's like running around to look at kids. That's what Holly said, basically. Anyway. Yeah, the topics of conversation here are distressing, and we're listening to someone tell us about these topics who I don't think, not to say that she's not qualified, because neither am I, but I think she's too close to the situation and has some work to do regarding the situation. I hope that makes sense. And again, this is all just my opinion. Feel free to disagree. After everything we've heard, for anyone to defend Russ and be like, oh no, he's not a P word, I'm like, no. Oh my gosh, Just a Voice, thank you for gifting 20 memberships. Let's have a quick little dance party to the Pop-Tart song before we get back into Lindsay talking about her father, whether or not he is a P word. Okay.
It's a Pop-Tart party right now. Look at all the Pop-Tarts in here. Everybody has a Pop-Tart by their icon. Hey, more Pop-Tarts in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Just a Voice. I really appreciate it. It's common for people to not offend towards their own children, but stepkids or non-bio children are a different story. And sure, I'm not suggesting that Russ has acted out on those fantasies and thoughts and stuff, because I think most people who have intrusive thoughts don't act out on the intrusive thoughts that they have. Again, I've dealt with them, especially in a postpartum sense. It's not fun. However, Russ clearly uses it to just have more control over people, in my opinion. So, all right. Anyway, you were singing the Pop-Tart song this morning. Yeah, it's a bop, honestly.
Do you think that there's any trace of predatory sort of behavior with him?
Predator in a different way. He's predatory towards women, towards
absolutely,
people who he feels that he can control. I mean, he's a narcissist, and I wouldn't necessarily go as far to say he's a psychopath, because he does have very heavy emotion. He's an emotional person. He's sensitive. He wells up at commercials. He, you know, when we were around, when we were kids, he loved us so much. But he just has these issues, and he did mentally and verbally and psychologically abuse us. But he didn't, I don't want to say he didn't mean to. It's a hard balance of trying to figure out where his head is at, because you can't understand someone who's ill like that unless you are also ill. But I don't think that he's predatory towards children, personally.
He weaponizes it.
Little,
that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
He wouldn't hug me. He wouldn't touch me because he's paranoid. He has OCD and all these issues. But also, I want to say, I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Yeah.
What can happen after you lose both of your children?
That's another part
Absolutely.
of it.
If you're already mentally unstable, I can't imagine what losing both of your children at the same time would do to you.
I can't imagine. You know,
but his behavior is the reason why he lost both of his children. So she has an older brother named Russell, and he, okay, so like in my video I said, because at the time I hadn't seen anything, I said that he hadn't made any statements against Russ. He just kind of like fucked off and was like, bye. But I did see a screenshot, and it must have been in the Mckamy Manor exposed Facebook group, of Russell basically being like, just calling out his dad and being like, no one should listen to my dad or something like that. I don't want to misquote him, but it was something along those lines, basically being like, no, fuck this guy, like my dad is dangerous, basically. So he still holds to that today, hasn't seen him in many years at this point. But for similar reasons, like he didn't want anything to do with his dad because his dad fucking sucks. And same thing with Lindsay, and she's gonna say later here that even if Russ were to go and get help and then reach out to her and be like, would you like to reconnect, she's like, I still wouldn't. It's like, okay, so like his actions are what made you guys leave. It's not like it was out of the blue, just like, no one ever saw that coming. Like, no, come on, dude. Like, I mean, if that is what did it for him, that's just him not being able to take responsibility for himself, for any of the shit he ever does, for what he does to other people. And go figure, you know, probably doesn't ever take responsibility for himself anyway. I think that's pretty clear, because anyone who speaks out against him is just automatically a hater. So I think that adds up, actually.
I've got kids, and it would be devastating.
Yeah, and he loves us. He does, which was a crazy thing to deal with, because when your dad loves you, why does he hurt you? But when you have severe mental illness, OCD, bipolar disorder, all of these things that he definitely has, it's very confusing as a child. But I can't blame him. He's ill. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
But you kind of can blame him because he knows he's ill and he refuses to get help for it. And I know that that's a big thing in mental health. Like, admitting that you have a problem is the first step to getting help to having a problem. But then, like, meanwhile, you have Susan said that she, like, went to his doctor with him to learn more about his mental illness when they were together. So it's like, he goes to doctors, he knows he has these issues, he's probably been prescribed meds and been, you know, put on some sort of regimen to help him with this kind of stuff. Like, he's probably been offered help, and he's the one refusing to take it, despite knowing fully well that he needs fucking help. So she's like, I can't blame him. Yeah, you can't blame him for being sick, but you can blame him for having all of the opportunities in front of him and being fully aware that he needs help, and him being like, nah. I don't know. That's just my opinion also. But yeah, like I love my parents, but like my dad is kind of the same way. When I started taking medication for my mental shit, because I have an impulse control disorder and anxiety and depression. When I first started taking medication for it, my dad got mad at me and told me I just needed Jesus. So if that tells you what kind of person my dad is, like, he also wouldn't admit that he has mental issues, and I know I get my shit from him, like, I know I do, so, a lot of it anyway. So maybe that's just me not having sympathy towards that, because I've been affected by someone like that. To me, Russ is way worse than my dad, by 7,000 miles, but still.
And do you think that Russ has had any sort of support network at any point throughout his mental illness that he's, you know, used or has been offered to him, or has it always been him sort of trying to deal with it by himself?
Well, when I was younger, I mean, he had a small audience because we lived in San Diego, and he was kind of viral in San Diego because at the time what he was doing was crazy and was weird. But nothing like what it is now. He definitely had people who thought it was strange, and anyone who knew him personally quickly fell in love with him because he's very charismatic. He would always call himself Mr. Personality because he has this really big, bright personality. But then you get to know him and everything changes. So if there was any bad reputation in San Diego, it was the people who knew him. People who didn't know him just thought he was weird and crazy.
Okay.
But it
sounds like people who do know him think the same thing also. So let's put 2 and 2 together here.
Only escalated to where it is now because of how obviously
is it possible that the Russ you remember metaphorically died when he lost you and your brother, and there's a possibility that he has grown into something completely different? Or do you feel that
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Hang on a moment. Yeah, don't worry.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. I mean,
Yeah, so it's moments like that where I feel like I feel bad for being critical of her at all, because I'm sure this is fucking hard. Like, I'm sure that this is her life, dude. Like, this has been weighing on her whole entire fucking life, and she hasn't seen her dad for 10 years. There's no way that this conversation is easy on her, and I do feel bad. But fuck, I feel like, given the severity of what we're talking about here, like, she just wasn't, I don't, personally, in my opinion, I don't think she was ready to talk about this when she did. Because I think she still has more work to do. But again, this was like 4 years ago, so hopefully she's done more since then, but I don't know.
when I was about to leave, I was the last straw of his sanity. I mean, I was his daughter.
Yeah.
And he had already lost his son. Russell, my brother, left before I did. Came back every now and then, but always
Make Ron do the
and
manor.
finally he said no.
That'd be
I
funny.
mean, he attempted to commit suicide in front of me to get me to stay, which he also did to Carol many times, and to my mom. It's a tactic he uses to get people to stay.
Okay.
There is a
that's
history of
fucked up.
suicide in our family, so it was very scary for me.
Of course, it'd be traumatic for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, my whole
Yeah,
childhood
Ron.
was just taking care of him and making sure he was okay and making sure that he still loved me. And I mean, all of these deep daddy issue type things that you've heard of.
Yeah, well, I think we can allow you some. Don't worry.
But you know, I wouldn't say it's saying if something died with him when I left. I have no idea, but from what I've heard, based off what Holly is saying and based off of what Carol said, because she stayed quite a long time after I left, it's progressed. It's absolutely gotten worse since I was a kid.
Yeah, I think when we hear your words, I don't think anyone's spoken about your dad this week the way that you have and painted the picture that you. I mean, you're not denying the mental illness, you're not denying the physical or the mental abuse and the torment and things like that, but certainly it's a different take. And I think you're correct in saying things have maybe progressively got worse. And I know in my country, in the UK, mental health care is free. You don't have to pay for anything like that. And
You
I
don't
know
have to
obviously with us
brag.
being in the US, I don't really know
Come on,
how it all
Ron.
works. So I don't know what you would have access to. And it's
Well, the hard thing is with Dad is that he goes through back and forths of acknowledging his mental illness and being
okay.
really afraid of it and completely denying it. So most of the time he'll be angry if you bring it up. He was diagnosed by a doctor with all of these things, multiple things, including OCD. But he has a really hard time accepting it. Mental illness, like I said before, runs heavily in our family. His mom, my grandma, had OCD. His father committed suicide. You know, it's very prevalent in our family. And, you know, I just want to say the main reason that I'm coming on here is, like I said before, not to put my dad in class. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of him. All of you guys are kind of, you know, commenting like, what the fuck? Like, I wanted more like drama, which I'll get to.
Listen, I just want to make.
Okay, if anyone has that thought process, like, shut up. Like, literally shut up. Like, if it's not clear how difficult this is for her, let alone anyone doing the same thing in a similar situation, like, shut the fuck up. Seriously, don't be like, oh, this isn't the drama I wanted. Okay, it's her real life, and she didn't have to get up here and talk about this. So even if there's anyone here watching it right now and thinking the same thing, check yourself. Because this fucking sucks. For her, for everyone involved, all of this fucking sucks.
Make it clear to everybody, we're here to tell the truth. We're here to give everyone involved.
I kind of want to make this more about a discussion about mental illness because it hasn't been this entire time. Even, I mean,
Just a voice. Sorry to interrupt, Lindsay, but Just a Voice, thank you for the 20 doll hairs. Had an extremely abusive father. Very much relate to her struggle. Forgiving what he did to you is okay. Making excuses for his behavior to others is not. If that's what she's doing, it's so hard. I feel for her. Dude, I feel exactly what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I always say the same thing. I'm just like, I can forgive people, but like, I'm never gonna like forget that you fucked me over, and like, I'm not gonna hold that grudge forever. I think that's fair. But it's hard because, like, there are some things that I think mental health struggles can be a valid excuse for. I think Russ is far beyond that boundary, so it's hard to listen to anyone make excuses for him and be like, oh, well, it's because he has OCD and he has BPD and whatever. It's like, yeah, a lot of people do, and they don't run a fucking torture house. I'm sorry, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm drinking an energy drink. My bad. Yeah, they don't run a scorcher house. Put a muffler on your car. Fuck. They don't run a scorcher house in their front yard, you know? Russ is doing that on his own. No one else really does that shit just because they have mental illnesses. And he also doesn't do all the other shit that he does, so anyway.
Into it, but Holly
Thank
is
you again, Just a Voice.
playing such a giant victim right now, which I understand she was in a bad relationship, but first of all, she wasn't in it for 3 years. She was in it for a fairly short amount of time in comparison to my brother, Carol, my mom, you know. So I think
I think we can all agree with that for sure. I think it's a completely different form of mental capture and things
Ron
like that.
is so loud.
Yeah, I think touching on the mental health.
I have to
side
turn
isn't
him
something
down
we
every time he
focused
starts
on.
talking.
And just to let you know, this whole series, I mean, it's been an evolving thing. I've come in at this very late, and I'm learning the whole history behind it all. There's so many sections to your dad's story. There's you and your brother, there's Carol, there's Holly, there's the manor, there's the people he worked with, there's the people that went through it. It's a massive story. And you know, I just want to let you touch on the points that you want to do and get your story across. I mean, when you guys
Wrap
when
it
you
up,
guys
Ron.
left,
Come
what
on.
was there any contact with your dad at all, or was it just once you guys were gone, it was you were gone basically?
you know, I blocked a lot of that time out.
Sure.
To a kind of a crazy extent that I didn't actually realize until I was listening to Carol's interview, and I was like, I don't remember this. But then talking to my mom, and she's like, that happened, and I'm like, holy shit! I don't remember a lot of random things because I blocked it out. So
She
when I
also was
left,
really young, though.
I think I came back. It was around Christmas time, and I think I came back for Christmas, and the Christmas was just awful. Holidays were always awful at our house because it always turned into something, and it was always about Dad and his issues and us not doing enough for him and us ruining the holiday. But it was hard. It was really hard, especially as a young woman. I mean, I was in the 7th grade. I was, 13 going on 14, and I had
Oh,
no
did she say
idea-
that? Yeah, the whole Holly playing the victim thing. I remember she said that, but I must have been reading the chat or something and it slipped past me. But I know she said that, so you guys are saying it in the chat, so she must have slipped it. Yeah, I hate that she said that. Yeah, let me comment on that real quick. Late, but I'm gonna comment on it anyway. Because I remember freaking out and being pissed off that she said that. When I was watching through this earlier, and it's like, how fucking dare you say that Holly is playing the victim? She is a victim. What are you talking about? Like, I know she didn't say everything Holly says is fake, but she's discrediting Holly's experience. And again, someone in the chat was saying earlier that, I thought it was Lindsay, but apparently it was Holly, that Holly went back on a lot of things that she said before. I think it's pretty clear that Holly was she felt threatened and was scared of Russ. So yeah, maybe she was threatened to backtrack on everything she said, but regardless, like, that, let's not, excuse me, like, you can tell your story and you can talk about how things were traumatic for you and whatever, and you can talk about these things without bringing other victims down, without being like, oh, well, her story isn't as relevant as mine, it isn't as truthful as mine, it isn't as, like, my situation is so much worse. Like, no, let's not do that. Excuse me, let's not do that. And I feel like that's one of the many things that she says in this interview where I'm like, bitch, really? Like, sorry, I don't mean to call her a bitch, I call everyone a bitch, but bitch, really? Like, stick to your story. If you're gonna start bringing other people into it, like, let's fucking, like, why are you even here then, what's the point if you're just gonna bring down other victims? I don't know
how wonderful it was going to be that I was leaving, but I also was so petrified for like, I would say 3 years that he was
Yeah.
Wendell, are you
after
okay?
me, or I mean, I would be in school and I would have to tell all of my teachers, just, you know, if you ever hear from this person and they say that they're picking me up and they say they're my dad, please call my mom. Like, it was just what my life was. Not to say that I think he would ever physically hurt me, but it's just kind of hard to express the fear of psychological and emotional trauma, because I feel like people only ever talk about physical trauma when it comes to abuse, but it's just as hard. Um, and you know, it was definitely weird, the situation of leaving. I can't speak for my brother. My brother was lucky enough to move to a completely different state with his
Yeah.
mom. We have 2 different moms. Same.
Okay.
And so he was completely gone, and I was still in
Thank
San
you,
Diego.
Quinlan.
I was
I
still
appreciate
10
you.
minutes away driving from my dad at my mom's house.
And what was it like when your brother left? I mean, obviously you guys sound super close now, like super duper duper close.
Florentina, that's a really good point. My father is predatory to women. Also, Holly is playing the victim. Right. The two don't mesh. Those statements don't mesh. So, yeah. It's gross. It's gross.
And
That is
having
devastating.
different moms and being in different places. I mean, how did that affect you guys? I mean, that must have been like fairly traumatic in itself as well.
Yeah, it was. We definitely weren't as close when we were younger because we got separated when he was 11 and I was, I don't even know how old, but you know, he's 8 years older than me. So we
Yeah.
got separated very young, but he kept coming back every year or so, you know, putting faith in dad and being like, maybe he's better now. I'll come visit San Diego, see my sister. And you know, that's how we got close, was by him coming back and making music together, because he's a music producer. And really in my teens and through adulthood, we've gotten the most close because he left when I was little.
I actually think Russell McCamey, his son, I'm pretty sure he's like got a decent sized YouTube channel. Like, I think he like does YouTube. I have to sneeze. I'm allergic to Pippi. Hold on.
He absolutely should have. So.
Okay. Well, I think there's been a few questions popping up in the side chat and things like that. So I know a lot of people are showing a lot of support about the mental illness side, and like I say, it's something that nobody, I really feel, has touched on, and it is, you know,
her and Holly not having the best relationship, someone just said in the chat. I don't think that Lindsay's ever known Holly. Lindsay, at this point, had been estranged from Russ for 10 years and had not spoken to him. And Holly was just fresh out of a relationship with Russ at this time. So, and they were together for only like 2 or 3 years. So I don't think Lindsay ever knew Holly. I don't see any situation where she would have met Holly. Maybe afterwards she had talked to Holly, possibly, but I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, no, I don't think that's the issue here. I don't think she's taking out any like ill will towards Holly because they had a bad relationship or something. I don't think she's ever known her.
Well, there's clear signs of a lot of issues, for sure. But Cap, is there any questions that you've seen that have been coming up in the side chat? Sorry, again, my brain is just liquefied. So if there's anybody on the Discord that wants to post any questions, stick them in the side chat for me. And if you guys want to ask any questions, get posting them, and we'll make sure that we get as many of them done as we can. Is there anything else you want to kind of touch on with us with regards to your story, Lindsay? Like, I really don't want you to feel like you're in a box here, and you have to sort of stick to something. I just want you to kind of speak freely, and if you're happy to do that, I'd like you to.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of things about the haunt that aren't true.
Okay, well, enlighten us. Let's hear.
A lot of it is like movie magic. A lot of it is not real. So a lot of people freak out because they see the needles and the pulling of the teeth, and they see the blood. The needles are retractable. You're not being injected with anything. My dad is terrified of drugs. It's part of his OCD. Therefore, he would never drug someone. That's why he's so against all drugs and all drinking, is because he associates drinking and drugs with bad people.
Okay, so that part, to me, I'm like, the fuck? Okay, so first of all, was it the last one we were watching? The last interview with Christina Buster, I think was her name. She was saying that she got in that van when Russ picked her up, and like there are parts that he doesn't remember, or that she doesn't remember from her tour, because they like force fed her some liquid and then suddenly she's like blacking in and out and stuff and doesn't remember that. And that to me sounds like a roofie or something. However, the thing is, and this is just speculation and I'm not saying this is fact, but Russ is just holding the camera, right? At that time, the time where Russ was having the van and was like doing the kidnapping, the abduction, simulating an abduction, he had all the actors doing all that, you know? So it's entirely possible that the actors were drugging people, you know? So she's like, yeah, Russ, my dad would never do that. It's like, okay, well, your dad was just filming. Like, there were actors who are in control of other things. And not to say that, like, Russ encouraged it or anything, but even if he had known that, like, they were the ones doing that, like, he had his actors doing that kind of stuff, it's like, sorry, my husband's being really loud downstairs. Like, he's on the phone. I don't fucking know. Anyway, to be like, my dad would never do that, that doesn't mean that it wasn't still happening, because there were other people working there. And then with the drinking and the drug thing, she's saying that, oh, he's like terrified of it. So there was one part in my video where I ripped a live stream from the Facebook group, that there were two people sitting on that morgue table, and now my son's out here. Okay, cool. The distractions, I swear to God. Oh, Fat Kitty's here too. Anyway, they were sitting on there were two people on the table and they were laughing. I put it in the video because I was like, oh, it must not be that scary if they're sitting there laughing. And Russ, I cut it out, but Russ was like, we have two drunk people here, ha 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 ha. And then the other guy, he was like, and we're high, ha ha ha. And they were all laughing, like Russ was laughing about it too. So I'm like, like, really? How scared of drinking and drugs are you? If people can be in your morgue, that he calls it, on your little table there, admitting to you that they are under the influence of drugs and alcohol, you're really gonna sit here and be like, no, he's terrified of them. It just doesn't add up to me, honestly. Sorry, I'm distracted again because my house is really loud, but I'll press play.
And so he's terrified of it, and that's why he does these drug tests, because he doesn't want anyone around the manor who does drugs, even like medical marijuana. He's not about it, so he doesn't drug you. This is how my dad kind of makes it, how he lives with himself with what he does, is he really does think of it as a game, as a play. When I was little, he'd always tell me, it's just a play, it's just a show. I'm an entertainer, I'm here to entertain. That's what his thing is, you know? So when he does these crazy things, it really is.
And then the moment I stop talking, everything goes quiet downstairs. What the fuck is happening? I think I'm being sabotaged by Russ and his flying monkeys in my house.
Unfortunately, mind over matter, and obviously you're seeing it on camera. It is edited
Iska?
to look crazier than it is.
Thank you for gifting
Yeah.
a membership.
Crazy. I'm not saying
Also,
it's not
hi, Mom.
crazy.
Hold
It
on,
is
guys.
crazy. But when it comes to the getting,
Even if it's one gifted membership, we gotta do the Pop-Tart dance.
It's a Pop-Tart party right now. Look at all the Pop-Tarts in here. Everybody has a Pop-Tart by their icon. Hey, more Pop-Tarts in the chat.
Thank you, Iska. I appreciate the gifted membership. Yeah, I think he's someone made a comment that was like, he's the Walmart version of Jigsaw, which adds up since he works at Walmart. Anyway, here we
people's
go.
teeth pulled, those little pliers are rubber.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting your teeth pulled because you're being mentally tortured, and you believe what's happening to you to be real.
Sure.
That's what's happening. You're not really being drugged. You feel high because you just had a needle injected into you, and you're being tortured.
Except you
Like,
didn't.
It's all, I mean, one of the things that
She literally just said it was a retractable needle, and now she's like, he just had a needle injected into you. No, you didn't. I mean, maybe you thought you did.
when I was younger and my dad would practice on me was, you know, mind over matter, because he wanted me to be mentally strong, because he is not.
Okay.
So he would put me through things, put me in the haunt, do certain things to me, to trick me, trick my brain, which was very traumatic because the brain is an extremely strong, resilient thing, but it's also very easily tricked. And his whole little thing is just a trick, it's just a show. Not to say that the things that are happening to these people aren't real. To them, they are real.
To a lot.
You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Like,
God.
that's the thing about
See, this is one of the things that made me mad too, because like you're gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, it's real to them." Yeah. You're gonna tell that to the guy, to this Kata Silvis guy who said his cousin, and this guy was actually in Reckless Ben's YouTube video today. The guy who got dragged behind the truck. Russ chained him up behind a truck and dragged him, like, and he had to go to the, like, or did he go to the hospital? I don't remember. He was bedridden for 2 weeks because he couldn't fucking move because of his injuries. You can't sit here and be like, well, it was real to him, but it wasn't real. You can't simulate being dragged behind a truck, dude. Russ did that. That's real. Don't sit here and say that that shit's not real. That shit was real. Like, seriously? See, yeah, it's those kind of comments where I'm like, she's just talking him up and defending him, and it's not, to me, it's not justified. It's not a justified defense at all.
mental, manipulation is that it is real to them. So it almost doesn't matter if he's actually doing it or not. If it feels real to you, then that's your truth.
Sure.
The only thing real physically, to my knowledge, that he does, yes, he does.
The
make you
gravel is
gag
just
and
your
force
imagination.
feed you things, which is disgusting. Is the shaving of the head and all that. That is real. He does do that. And it does get really physical. He does blindfold you and push you around and make you go in cold water. All that stuff is real. I'm just saying the really intense stuff that makes you think, how has this man not been arrested, is because it's not actually happening.
I mean,
Okay, but I just to be,
he absolutely should have been, like, for Lori Brotherton. Like, did you see her before and afters? Like, her after photos were terrifying. Like, that shit should be attempted murder. Don't sit here and tell me that the intense stuff didn't actually happen. Okay, maybe he's not actually pulling people's teeth out and ripping out their nail beds and shit. But, like, you're gonna look at someone like Lori Brotherton and be like, no, nothing was real. Are you kidding me? Dude, are you kidding me? That's all.
just for sheer clarity, we can only really tie that back to your memories. What has happened in the last 10 years.
Right. But I also know my father, and I know
Sure.
I don't think you do.
Sure.
And I know what his triggers are, and that's not something that's going to change over time. It might be like it progresses or gets worse, but I know what his fears are. He's afraid of drugs. He's afraid of alcohol. When it comes to other people being involved, he thinks you're a bad person and that you have bad things happening around you. And he also knows that he cannot pull your teeth out. You know what I mean? Like, he's not an idiot. He's sick, but he's not an idiot. He knows he can't pull your teeth out. He knows he can't inject you with drugs.
No, Russ is still an idiot.
That doesn't mean that it doesn't feel extremely real to these people. You know what I mean? And that's what's sick. It's not about what's actually physically happening, in my opinion. It's the psychological torture. That is what's wrong. And it should be.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and tell that to someone who was dragged behind a truck or was having their face slammed against a wall multiple fucking times. Go ahead and try to tell them that it's all just fake and it's not real and the physical stuff isn't actually happening. Yes, it is. It was, and it still is, actually. He's not dragging people behind a truck anymore, but he's still making them do physical shit. He's still waterboarding people. He's still shoving their head in a box and pouring water into it and forcing them to drown as long as they can possibly stand it without dying. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all that stuff is still fucking happening. See, I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to get all, like, upset or like mad at her, because again, like I was saying before, like she very clearly like still has some work to do here, in my opinion. But like, to me, what, Griff? What am I doing? Oh, I'm just hanging out with some friends. What are you doing? All right. I forgot what I was saying. What is my life? Normally when I live stream, my family like goes into another room or something, but for some reason today, where everyone's just gonna be out and about and being as loud as possible. Anywho.
Be taken as seriously as it is being, in my opinion.
Okay. And where do you think the line for Russ and between what people think is fact and fiction, right? And again, everyone is getting a chance to put their opinions across, and I'm glad that you're putting yours over it, and you're sticking with that you know your dad best, and I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. It's just I think a lot of people are surprised to hear what you're saying, and
that's why I wanted to come on, and I don't want anyone to think I'm standing up for my dad, because I'm not. What
Yeah,
he's
you
doing
are.
is not cool, not okay, and needs to be stopped, and he needs to be put on medication and in therapy, and he has needed that for 30 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I know people are in the in the audience and are mad that I'm standing up for him, but I'm not. I'm
Except
telling you
you
the
are.
truth, and the truth is that
No, listen, like, I believe that she thinks that this is true. I absolutely believe that everything she's saying, she believes to be true for herself, whether it's because he has groomed her to the point that she believes it, or if she's just in denial and telling herself that stuff to make herself feel better. And I believe, yeah, that's valid that she's doing that. However, it's just not reality. It's just not. And okay, she has trauma. She's been through some shit. I get it, dude. We all get it. But holy shit. Now she's like, I'm not defending my dad. Yeah, you are. Like, what is this then? What are you calling it? I don't know. The thing to remember is that someone like a daughter does not know him best. He's a liar. So she gets that constantly. So she knows what he tells her best, which isn't really. Well, the other thing is too, and I think she starts getting into this more, like, to go back to the whole, like, oh, he's never hurt me, he's never done this to me, blah, blah, blah. He's your dad. You've never been someone who's romantically involved with him, obviously. Like, you're his daughter. It's like my mom's in the chat. Mom, does dad treat you differently, not better or worse, but differently than he treats me and my sister? The answer to that is going to be yes. You know why? Because there's a difference between someone's children and their significant other. Like, the way you treat them, you know? Like, hello? What planet are we living on right now where we're gonna sit here and be like, no, it's totally the same. Every love is the same. Yeah, I love my cats, okay? I adore my cats, but I don't love them in the same way that I love my husband. You see what I'm saying? Like, holy shit. Yeah, she's standing up for him, and I don't think she realizes it. I think she needs therapy. She has said here that she's been in therapy her whole life, and I believe that. I'm sure she has, and I'm sure she needs it, and probably will continue to need it for the rest of her life. Probably. But to me, I don't know. I'm very conflicted with the way I stand up for her and then the way that I criticize her. Like, I just keep going back and forth here, and it's really hard to get a handle on. Because, like, you want to feel bad for her because this is clearly someone who's gone through trauma, but at the same time, the shit she's saying is in defense of a monster. So there's that. I don't know.
he's sick. He's not bad. Those are two different things. But
Yo, guys, Reckless Ben is in the
All I know
chat.
is what I've seen from Carol.
Everyone tell Ben how much you loved his video today. Even if you haven't watched it, tell him how amazing it is and promise that you'll go watch it later. Because I watched it twice, Ben. It was a masterpiece. Thank you for everything that you do. Okay.
What I saw my entire life, what my mom who was married to him sees, what my brother sees, that's what I know. And I think that those are pretty valid things to agree on when my entire family all has the same thing to say. And not someone who dated for less than a year.
Okay. It's one.
I think she just said that Holly and Russ dated for less than a year, but Holly said it was 2 to 3 years. And then it's like at the same time, she wasn't even around. So it's like, what are you talking about? I mean, how do you know? You know, you weren't there. Were you there? But did you die? Were you there? Please.
One of those things. It's difficult, I think, for a lot of people when there is that gap in contact and gap in being able to see what's happening for yourself. But again, I know you keep referring back to the OCD, and I think that's definitely something for us all to think upon, for sure. I mean, how much can your own brain make real, and how much does Russ take advantage of that, and how much of an expert in that is he? You know, if you're saying that he's been doing this for his whole life and for your whole life, it's an interesting point. It really, really is.
That's what I'm saying, is when this has been his truth for his entire life, he's 62 now or something. He's
Sure.
not going to change in the last 10 years of my life. This is who he is.
He could change for the worse. And didn't she say earlier, like, it's progressed? It's definitely progressed. Man, like, I really do truly feel like she is, not, well, hypocritical, yeah, but she's, contradicting herself, like, all the time. Because, like, literally 5 minutes ago, she was like, oh, yeah, it's definitely gotten worse. And now she's like, oh, no, this is just who he is and he'll never change. You can change for the worse, my guy. Can we just admit that possibly in the past 10 years that you've been out of contact with him, that he's gotten progressively worse? Like, I don't know. I know it's a shocking thing to consider, but...
But I do want to say that he is a narcissist. He has immense issues with manipulation.
You don't say.
He can be evil towards the people who love him the most.
Can be?
And it's hard to defend his actions, because that's not what I'm not trying to defend it, but I'm trying to get you guys to understand that he's a human being with problems, and
we know
he needs help, and he's needed help his whole life, and he's never gotten it.
Sure.
But he has hurt a lot of people, including me. I mean, I've been in therapy my whole life. I have panic disorder. I have panic attacks every single day. I have to take medicine every day for my panic attacks. I mean, I am royally fucked up because of this man.
That's a serious.
I have to find the human in him, or I'll go crazy.
And that makes sense.
I have to empathize with him, because I'm half of him. I have the things in him to, you know what I mean? Like, I can hate him all I want. I can say he's a psychopath all I want, but the truth of the matter is he's ill, and a lot of the things people are saying are not true, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't hurt a lot of people, and that he should not be around women in an intimate way because he doesn't know how to treat women. That's a huge thing. I mean, a lot of people are asking me on this thing, is what everything Holly said bullshit? No. I'd say 95% of everything she said, in my opinion, after talking to Carol and my mom and getting their opinions when they were in intimate relationships with him, is true. He is abusive.
Okay, then, like, why are you discrediting everything that Holly says? Well, now she's going back and being like, oh, 95% of everything she said is true. Ugh. I'm having a really hard time, like, navigating this interview mentally, because I keep going back and forth between, like, I feel bad for her, and she's handling this so well, and she's so well-spoken, and blah, 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 and then going the next second to being like, why the fuck would you say that? Why the fuck? Oh my god.
He
drives me
verbally,
nuts.
Psychologically, he puts you in the ground and treats you less than dirt. That is
5%.
true. And he did that to me when I was 6 years old until the day that I left. That is true. But the pedophile thing, I personally cannot stand behind. I never experienced it. My mom never experienced it. I think that he's sick, and that's that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, thank you for putting all that forward. And again, I just want to apologize to everybody. My brain is losing it, so I do apologize if I'm not quite on the ball. Cap, have you got some questions gathered up from the side chat by any chance?
I'm just grabbing actually a few of them. Just give me one second.
Infinitive Z, and then anyone else who wants to know this and all of the surviving life interviews here. That's what this podcast stream thing is. You can find them all in full. There's a playlist of them on the Mckamy Manor Exposed YouTube channel. Just type in McCamey Manor exposed. It's got like a little Kool-Aid guy as the icon. It's all on there. Go to playlists, and there's a whole playlist of all of them. There's like 14 of them or something. You can watch all of these without my commentary uninterrupted if you want to.
Second.
They're all there.
There's been supposedly Carol's in the chat, and she wanted to have a word, but I'm still waiting on the email.
All right, yeah, no problem, no problem. So, what would
Russ is a wet wipe.
One thing that you could say is the biggest misconception, in your opinion, about your dad? I mean, obviously the mental health thing has been the big underlying thing that nobody talks about. But do you think there's anything else that is a factor other than the mental health? I mean, is there a drive in your dad that do you think do you think there's something else driving him to the excessive levels that he goes
He just asked her like 30 questions in one sentence. Like, what do you expect her to say?
to, or appears to go to?
How do you expect her to answer this, Ron?
In your opinion,
I love your frozen picture right now.
Does it look good?
Yeah, no, yours is fine.
Him. Okay, I was like, how do I look?
Yeah, there you go. Now it's.
I'm like, okay.
Great,
Oh,
great.
sorry about that. Sorry. Oh man,
You're like.
I'm holding you just here.
At the end of the day, what Dad wants is attention.
You don't
and
say.
He has always loved Halloween. And he noticed when he did the haunt in San Diego when it was very calm and mellow, and then he started building it up and up, and his mental health was also declining at the same time.
Okay.
He got attention from the public, and now it's booming more than ever, and he loves it. He really does.
Think she was 5 or 6.
He's a performer at heart. He's an entertainer. That's what he initially wanted to do with his life.
Sorry to interrupt. I think that when Russ got with Carol, I want to say she was like 5 or 6 years old.
This came after years of trauma and finding a passion for Halloween because it made him feel good to scare
Hurt people
and all these things, but in a lighthearted way in the beginning.
Oh, God.
And
Sure.
as his mental health declined and his personal life fell apart, doesn't have contact with anyone in his family, this became his world. Halloween and this haunt became his world. Making it bigger and better and crazier was all that mattered. So he likes this attention that we're all giving him right now. I don't think he likes the things that we're saying about him. I mean, whether or not they're true, which they are.
Okay.
I don't think he likes that, but he
Right.
does like that he has all this huge platform. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And at the end of the day, he loves doing this. I can't tell you why. I can't give you any rational reason why he loves doing this to people.
Sure. You froze just for a little bit there, Lindsay. We caught we missed the last sort of half of your last sentence there.
Sure. I was saying
It went all the way through.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's
Yeah,
just
so
terrible internet. I do apologize.
Yeah, it's clearly you, Ron.
I can't understand why
Bye.
he does what he does, and I think it's because of all the issues he has and this power complex. He likes
Sure.
being in control of people. He likes taking advantage of people, manipulating people. He likes that. These are all things he likes, and it all has to do with that narcissistic side of him that loves the attention and loves being in control.
Here's a question from Stealth herself. Is staying away from your father helping your recovery?
Yeah. Leaving when I was 13 I was suicidal.
That's fucking
I
sad.
felt like the loneliest person in the world because I was isolated from everybody and everything, just like same thing that happened to Carol and same thing that happened to Holly.
Sure.
And I was sick all the time. I was always vomiting because I was so stressed all the time. And that's something that an 11-year-old shouldn't be feeling 24 hours a day. Never knowing if Dad was in a good mood or in a bad mood. It was just exhausting and I had to leave. And
Sure.
I don't think I would be here if I hadn't left when I did. And I wish I left sooner.
Okay. Here's one from Shannon McNeil. Has your dad ever reached out to you or your brother over the years? And you don't have to answer that if that's too personal. I'm just throwing things up on the screen as I spot them.
He's reached out to my brother. I think my brother leaving was a bigger blow than when I left because they had a different relationship. My dad was already very much so in his mental, low when I was born. And I was also a girl, which made him uncomfortable. And so he had a different bond with my brother than he had with me. So I do think over the years, well, I know he has tried to reach out to Russell.
Sorry, there's a lot here, but I do need to thank the dono. Jennifer Watkins, thank you for the dono. Ron should be a McKamy Manor tour. Riding in a van listening to Ron would be my worst nightmare. You show up to the manor and it's just Ron. Just talking about white supremacy or whatever it is. Damn, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Ron should be on Russ's payroll. Oh, wait, Russ doesn't have a payroll. Because they're all volunteers.
You know,
Okay.
up until I was 13 when I did leave, my brother was a teenager at the time, and he had visited my dad every so often. It never ends well. They always have this dramatic ending, and then maybe next year Russell tries again, and it was just this dramatic back and forth. So
Yeah.
they had a while of trying to figure this out, because Russell wanted to have a father and wanted to have a relationship with dad, but it just wasn't possible. For me, I said goodbye at 13, and I never heard from him again.
Ron, a question
And that's
that
so
came up
sad,
in the chat,
too.
and actually,
There's so much that's sad about this because, first of all, Lindsay's like, well, she said earlier, she was 13 and she was thinking about unaliving herself. 13, do we all collectively realize how young 13 is? Like, that's young, dude. Wow. It breaks my heart to think of a 13-year-old. Like, that's a child, dude. I mean, I know it happens. Like, I mean, I know that 13-year-olds can get depressed and unalivey thoughts and stuff like that. It's just sad. And then for her, can you imagine, like, how fucking proud, and not in a good way proud, like, how much pride do you have, like, toxic ass pride, for your children to be like, I no longer wish to see you, so I'm out, I'm outie 5000, and for him to just be like, okay, not reach out to them, not even attempt to, like, not only better yourself so that they're willing to give you a chance, but to, like, fix things. Like, how as a parent, how can you be totally okay with your young children, 13 years old, her being like, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and he's just like, okay, he's like, okay with that, oh yeah, that's fine. That's wild to me. Like, what that speaks to, in my opinion, is that he has way too much pride. And but also, like, not wanting to take any responsibility for the shit that he's put people through. And it's sickening, dude. It's sickening. And then when she says shit like this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucked up. That sucks. That, like, actually really sucks. Yeah. I can't. Like, see, now I'm back in the whole, like, I feel bad for her. You know? And within the next 30 seconds, I'm going to be angry at her again. It's just, her mom might have kept her away. No, she said that she made the decision to leave. I mean, at 13, she, you know, just like, I don't want to see dad anymore. And even to this point, I don't think she said it yet, but I think eventually they ask, like, if he were to get help and reach out and want to reconnect and stuff, would you? And she says no. As an adult, she says no. So, yeah, I feel like, and I tell this to Sparrow a lot, like, because she's always like, she'll do something that she's proud of, and she'll go, are you proud of me? And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm proud of you. And she's like, I love you so much, and she's so sweet, and I'm like, God, I love you too. And I'm like, I don't remember what, like, the situation was, but, like, recently I told her, I'm like, girl, like, there is nothing you could possibly do to make me stop loving you. Like, I can't think, and obviously maybe things are different when you have, like, serious problem children. My children are perfect angels, but I'm like, they could be a serial killer, and I'm gonna be mad at them. I'm gonna be real disappointed. But I will probably still show up to that prison and say what's up, you know? Make sure that they're still mentally okay. I don't know. Like, I can't... No one can really put themselves there, you know, mentally, because it's a really odd situation. But, like, I sit here and I rack my brain trying to think of what my children could do to make me not want to be involved with them anymore. And I'm like, I can't think of it, you know? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it, dude. And she's an adult now. Russ has every opportunity to reach back out to her and Russell. I think he has Russell, probably. But, he has every opportunity. They're adults now. They can, even if the mom was keeping them apart, that he can make his own decisions. They can make their own decisions now. They're adults, and he just doesn't. And I don't get that. That makes no sense to me.
I'll mix it with another one. Do you feel that the less or the more your dad lost, that the experience he put the people through got more dangerous for the people? Because there is one question that keeps coming up: is was the waterboarding fake?
What Collie experienced?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you
I-
think waterboarding.
Shut
Just so I just want to point that out. Like,
Ross,
I don't know
Ron.
how you would do that. Like, would you?
I don't know. He does get physical with people. I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't put needles in them or rip their teeth out, but he does get physical
Yeah,
with people.
the first part of that question interests me. Do you think there's a correlation between your father's descent into his mental illness and increase in his
Violent behavior.
there you go. Fuck hell. Sorry.
Yeah, and he also didn't have kids he had to worry about. I mean, not that he ever really. I mean, he loved us, but he didn't really worry about us. Whichever woman he was with took care of us. You know, when I was little, Carol was when I was at my dad's house, was my sole provider. I mean, he didn't do anything for me.
That's so
except
sad.
yell or do crazy things.
And
So-
that's when we've talked. Like I say again, I know we're not comparing experiences here, and I'm not trying to upset anybody. But when it's the same with Carol. It was the same with Holly. It was the same with anyone in that inner circle. You know, not the
Right.
friend zone. The inner family circle tells the same story, and
He
what-
loves you,
where-
but he
where does
doesn't
that-
want to
where
do
do-
anything for you.
where
And
do you
that's
think-
narcissism.
Where do you think that stems from? Where is this self-isolation and wanting the people around him to be isolated? It just seems.
Something from his childhood.
Sorry.
I think Russ isolates himself because if he doesn't, he just gets run out of places when there's other people around. He had to isolate himself out in rural ass Tennessee because in San Diego he there were too many people telling him he couldn't do the shit he was doing, you know? I think that might play a role in the reason why he isolates himself.
From his childhood, yeah.
I mean, he had from what I've heard, is he had a really hard childhood. You know, he also has an issue with lying. A lot of the things that he says, like the $20,000, that doesn't exist. Obviously, you guys already figured that out. Or the fact that he's spent $1 million and so dollars on the haunt. That's not true. He kind of just makes things up out of nowhere. Same with when he says, the needles are real, I'm actually drugging you. People always say, like, he admitted it though. You cannot believe that. I mean, he just says things to stir things up.
Ben touched on this in his video today too. He was basically saying that like Russ makes up all these like when people come out and say like, "Oh, there's this haunted house and they'll pay you $20,000 if you make it through," and like when here's this 40-page waiver and they'll pull your teeth out, and da da da. He doesn't correct people and say, "No, we're not actually doing that," because it does provide free publicity basically to his haunt, his haunt. Yeah, it's all free publicity for us. He knows exactly what he's doing in that way. Yeah, I forget why I lost my train of thought, but anyway, yeah.
And that's what it is. And I think a lot of the things too, he has grown to believe over time because he's said it so many times. But a lot of things he says you can't even trust as being correct because he just says things. What was the question?
Oh, listen, I'm just holding it together. I wish I could.
All of
remember
us here are
the
just
question.
forgetting the question.
Like
I blame
I'm trying my
Ron.
best here. And again,
No, that's
when-
fine. I genuinely
when everyone's watching this back tomorrow and wondering why the host of this is doing such a bad job, third show of the day. Okay, we're running on fumes here. So I just wanted to say that. But I'm going to continue on with the questions. And like I say, if you wake up tomorrow, Lindsay, and feel like we've not touched on things that we should have, I do promise you a much more coherent and professional evening after a night's sleep.
Your cam's frozen again, by the way.
Brilliant. That's great. That's
Um,
He's just like, I think the most professional-ish streams that have come out of you, Ron, are the ones where you're so exhausted that you can't function. So actually, this was a great format. Let's keep this up. How about that?
One question that actually came up here, and I was curious about it yesterday. In regards, do you know, to medical staff, do you know if your dad had any people there that were certified and were able to take care of people if they got injured?
You mean during the haunt?
Yeah.
That never was a thing. That's not. I mean, no.
So
Not,
if someone
not to my knowledge.
so someone
If
got
someone-
injured, there was nobody to kind of be like, hey, here's
No,
a
and
splint.
and most of the time he wouldn't believe them. I mean, same with when I was a kid. If I said anything was wrong, I was lying. I was trying to get out of something. I was, and he really wants to believe everyone is lying to him and everyone is not telling the truth. So, and also it's it's that Navy mindset of like walk it off kind of thing. Even though his Navy situation is not as drastic as he claims it was, you still are taught certain things that he has taken with him and embedded in his children and also in how he treats people who go through harm. The walk it off mindset.
Well, with with mental illness mentalities, like sometimes you'll pick up ones that are more stronger to use as a mask to try to hide that kind of pain. And from what you were saying, how he doesn't want to admit that he has this weakness, I think that's what he's done, is he's put himself behind this and he's pushing it so far enough that he's hurting people.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any possibility, and again, this is just my running on fumes brain, do you think with the way that he was with you and your family growing up, do you think the intensity that he's at now, do you think there's any part of that is his connection to his time with you guys and this mindset that he's in and this extreme behavior has any sort of connection for him to, open inverted commas, a happier time, so to say, when he had his children? Do you think there's anything?
I don't
No?
I don't think so. I
No?
think it's been 10 years now.
Yeah.
But I think with Dad, you really are towing the line of like, he loves you, but he doesn't respect you. And he loves you, but he can't do anything for you because he has his own problems he has to deal with. And he loves you, but once you're kind of gone, you're gone. And it's back to his problems. So that's kind of what our life was like. It wasn't ever really about us, which is hard to explain to people when you say, he loved you, but he did all these horrible things. And even now as you're adult, I mean, how can you go your whole life or your children's lives not reaching out, not wanting to fix things?
That's what I was
apologizing,
saying.
Not trying to make yourself better. I mean, we're his only family. No one else talks to him.
Right.
We're his children. We're his flesh and blood, and he has no interest in fixing anything. And I think the haunt is purely for narcissistic reasons. I don't think it has anything to do with us. And I think that's just what happens when you are a narcissist. You can still love people, but it's not about them ever. It's about you and what you're going through and your issues.
Shannon McNeil's asking, did you ever help your dad with the haunt?
Yeah, I was forced to. I hated it. I was terrified of it. It gave me panic attacks. I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep. I threw up nonstop. Couldn't keep food down because I was so terrified of it. I mean, I'm a kid and I'm seeing these gruesome, bloody things and being trapped in a meat locker to teach me a lesson, or, being scared shitless to, either teach me a lesson or make me learn something or make me stronger or braver.
See, that's so fucked up, dude. Like, how can you, again, like, we're talking about Russ McCamey here, but, like, how can you be a parent and see your kid, like, stress puking all the time and then be like, you know what you need? You need to be traumatized more. Like, what? How can you look at a child, any child, not even your own child, just any child who is behaving that way, who is reacting that way more so to just being around you? How can you look at that and be like, that's normal? Or, yeah, you know what this kid needs is a little bit more trauma. Like, what? I realize that, and honestly, like, I feel like Russ probably did think that he was helping her to be like, oh yeah, she just got to get desensitized to all this horror stuff. How can you do that to a child? How can you have that thought process towards a child? It does not compute. I don't get it, dude. No.
And a lot
I mean,
of
being locked in a meat locker, Lindsay, that's pretty extreme. Like, I mean, was that a punishment, or was that just part of the haunt for you?
It was part of making me not afraid of the haunt. His whole thing was he wanted me to stop being scared of the haunt.
Desensitization, extreme.
Yeah, and so he would make me walk through it by myself. And this haunt, I mean, even at its weakest, even at its
infancy, shall we say?
It was still intense for a child to walk through. It was still bloody, and it was still violent, and it was still terrifying.
Yeah.
And I would say the haunt is one of the main sources of my extreme panic disorder that I have now.
That's
haunt
actually
itself,
sorry.
It was just very triggering.
Yeah, the haunt.
And there's a lot of things that happened that
Of course.
I can't talk about without having a breakdown, but a lot of things that he did and things that, again, it's so crazy because to him, he doesn't think what he's doing is wrong. He thinks he's helping me. He thinks he's making me stronger. He thinks he's making me not so weak. He always hated how weak I was and how afraid I was of things, but I was afraid of things because of what he was forcing me to do.
Yeah, did he feel like it was a gift that he was just sort of bestowing on his children, this mental mindset that he believed he was creating, but in actual fact it was destroying you?
Yeah, I mean, a gift is kind of a strange term. I wouldn't say a gift, but I would say that he definitely never thought he was doing anything wrong.
Well, I mean, in his mindset, it must have seemed like that. It must have seemed like he was bestowing his abilities upon his children to.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he never.
I mean, like, for adults and stuff, maybe, like, those kind of desensitization things can be more effective. But, like, doing that to a child, forcing a child, because, like, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the imagery, I guess, that when she was a kid, when she was around Mckamy Manor, what kind of stuff was there, because it was just a lot of, like, scary animatronics and, like, fake blood all over the place and loud noises and strobe lights, like, anything that you would expect from a traditional boo haunt is what they call them. Like, I can understand maybe an adult, like, a mentally healthy adult being like, okay, if I just, like, subject myself to this, like, I don't know, ease my way into it, I can desensitize myself. Like, I get that. But children don't work that way. Their brains are still developing. Like, that's how she's out here being like, I have a panic disorder and I'm pretty sure it's from all that. You think? Like, probably. I'm not a professional. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know this shit. But, like, yeah. I mean, like, it's very clear. It was definitely an abusive situation, for sure. Like, 100%. At the same time, I also can admit that Russ probably didn't see it that way. But he also isn't right in the head, so, you know, that's not justification at all.
On any of the things. And, you know, I would go to my friends and I would talk about things that have happened, and they were like, what the fuck? Like, it was never like, this is normal. And I always knew it wasn't normal, but when you're a kid, and you're being mentally
it's not normal
and tricked.
That
and
shit is not
guilt,
normal.
You know, all this guilt about
she's quiet.
Making sure everything's perfect for dad and being a perfect person and perfect girl for dad. It was really hard.
What was it like when you were growing up for having your own friends?
He's so loud.
And normal.
I couldn't.
Isolation again. Back to the isolation factor, I would assume.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't actually think about it until I got older about how weird it was, but he was. I mean, friends never came. I didn't have my first sleepover at my dad's house until I was in the 7th grade, right before I left, because I had a really close friend who was really interested in the haunt and wanted to work in the haunt. That was the only reason he let her come over.
Okay.
But other than that, Friends were not allowed over. I was not allowed over at friends. If
So-
my phone was completely, I mean, he would
This
he
volume
would take
situation,
phones
I'm sorry.
off of, you know, back when you had landlines, so that I couldn't call my mom when I was scared. I couldn't call 911 if I needed to. When I did get a phone, it was taken away from me every night because he knew I would text my mom, crying and sobbing, and it just real.
That's fucked up. Hey, Russ, if you're like, I'm gonna take my kid's phone away because she's definitely gonna try to look for help to get away from me. I'm speechless. I don't fucking know. Like, at what point do you realize, like, oh shit, what am I doing wrong to make my child not want to hang out with me? You know? Like, self-reflection, who? Mindfulness, who? Introspective, who? Not Russ.
Isolation, especially from my mom, who was the person who I needed the most through all of this. And that's, I think, was the most messed up thing, was that the things that I needed I couldn't get because he wanted to keep me isolated.
And one more question from Sherry on the side
Fucking
here.
wrong.
Do you think if your dad was to get help, you would have contact with him, or would you try and no? No. Okay.
Because I mean, yes, but he'll never get help. That's the problem. If he was gonna get help, he would have done it by now. After you lose both of your children and both of your marriages fail, and you've abused every woman you've ever been with,
Right.
maybe you start to think there's something wrong with you, but that's just not how he thinks. It's always everyone else's
Right.
fault.
Yeah.
Therefore, he'll never get help. And if he
Just-
did
Oh my god,
ever get
sorry.
help, I still have no interest in being involved.
And just a question I was seeing up the side there. What is your personal opinion on the manor? And another one that's coming up is do you believe that it should just come to a close, that your dad should not try to pursue this again?
I don't know what would happen to him if the haunt went away. Honestly, it's all that he has.
That's kind of a scary thought too, huh? Because knowing Russ, he wouldn't like take it out on himself. Like because obviously McKamy Manor is a release for Russ. I think we can all admit that by now, right? If you take that away from him and he does basically nothing else, no one else, nothing else to live for, he can either take it out on himself or he can find a way to take it out on other people. And my idea is that Russ would 100% be taking it out on other people. Like, he'll find another way to go scorcher people, you know? That's a scary thought. So it's like, it's so hard because we're like, we just want to shut this place down. We want to shut Russ up. We want to shut McKamy Manor down. We don't want him to keep this shit up. Like, he's clearly, justice needs to be served against Russ McKamy. But it's like, if he's not thrown in a prison cell, if he's not thrown into jail, what happens? Like, the only good ending to this is Russ being thrown in jail. But if he's not held accountable in that way, he's just gonna find another way to release all this shit. And that's really scary. And I think that's something we need to consider. It's not, I mean, like, I don't think that should be a deterrent from all of the awareness and stuff that's being spread about McKamy Manor and Russ McKamy right now. However, I mean, nothing good can come from it if Russ is not sitting and rotting in a prison cell. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say, but yeah.
But frankly, that's none of our problems because he's causing so much harm, psychologically and physically to people.
Yeah.
So I absolutely think it should be closed. I think it should have been closed years ago. Like I said, I don't know what would happen. I think it will eventually get shut down. I mean, the fact that it's lasted this long, man, is crazy to me. But now that there's all of this stuff coming out of the woodwork and people are so interested and so like concerned, I think it will definitely get shut down in the next year or two, hopefully. I think it's despicable. Everything that
That's
he
wishful thinking, Lindsay.
did to my brother and I, he's doing to strangers now, psychologically. And it's just weird. At the end of the day, it's fucking weird, you guys. This man is weird. This situation is weird. And that's what makes it so hard to talk about, is it's not black and white. It's not black
Yeah.
and white. It's a very strange situation.
She's right.
And we all have unique relationships.
And it's probably even more difficult for her because, again, like, that's her father. That's the one thing she has above all of us that none of us have. She's his only daughter. And, yeah, that makes the situation way less black and white. She can try to make it as black and white as she wants to by saying, like, no, he's a good person, he's just sick. But, like, no. It's a complicated-ass situation any way you look at it.
With Russ. And, you know, I can only tell my truth about what I experienced. But, you know, I hope that it gets shut down. I really do.
Yeah, I think. I mean, do you feel, right now? I'm not trying to trigger anybody. Do you think there's any hope in hell of, however you want to word it, an intervention, an extending of a hand, an olive branch? Do you think there's any hope of getting your dad any help? Do you think it's ever good? I mean, do you think there's anything that will get him to
No
admit he has a
way.
problem and seek help?
No. If that was possible, my mom would have done it. My
Yeah,
brother's mom would have done it. I would have done it. Carol would have done it. He's been told that he has these issues his whole life. You can't lose every single person in your family and destroy everything you touch for 62 years. And if you still can't think that there's nothing, if you still think there's nothing wrong with you, it's never going to change. There's
Yeah.
no helping hand. Doesn't matter how stern you are with him. It doesn't matter how kind you are to him. It doesn't matter how many of you troll him on the internet. He doesn't care. That doesn't mean anything to him. What means something to him is the haunt. That's all that he cares about.
Mm-hmm.
we'll get back to that in just one second. I just want to say, TK, thank you very much for the super chat and just some nice words
Blah, blah, blah,
to you there,
blah.
Lindsay. And of course, his and it was probably like 5-6 years ago, maybe around about then. I was like, wow. I mean, this looks crazy. Nobody, there wasn't a lot of negative stuff certainly in front of me at that point, and you can see how it's captivating. You can see how his audience has grown. You can see why there's always been an interest in what your dad does, especially when the mythology, I mean, he's one man, and the mythology and the amount that follows this guy, the positive, the negative, the unbelievable, it's overwhelming
It
for one
is.
person to have such a
Ron's right about that.
massive impact on so many people that he comes into touch with.
Mhm.
This is a random one. This is just for my own personal thing. Has he always been like a big animal lover? Has he been with the dogs and things like this? I mean, there was the greyhound
This part's
thing.
kind
I
of
know, I
interesting.
think Carol touched on that. I think it was Carol that touched on
Yeah.
that in one of the streams. Is
He didn't like dogs at first.
Okay.
He didn't like them because they hump things and that's dirty and that's wrong. And, you know, he doesn't really like animals because they do things that are naturally instinctual for them that makes him uncomfortable. But Carol came along and brought all her dogs, and to my knowledge, from what I saw, he fell in love with them, fell
Okay.
in love with greyhounds, and you know, I don't know what Carol saw, but what I saw was that he really did love these dogs.
Honestly, and this is just my opinion for no fucking reason at all, with no backing behind it, but I think that the only reason that Russ has the dogs now is, well, first of all, to keep up appearances and the whole I'm a dog lover, but mostly I think because he's in rural Tennessee and, like, I mean, you gotta have dogs out there, right? They're gonna alert you when there's, like, I don't know, it's like a security thing, you know? I mean, his dogs very clearly are not well trained. If you guys have ever seen any of his, like, live videos, every time he goes live, like, his dogs are in the background, like so loud, and Russ is just trying to talk over them, and then he'll be like, go outside, and they never do. They don't listen to him. They don't do anything. He just, like, lets them roam around his property, which, whatever, cool. But, like, I feel like if you are a dog lover and you're going to keep them as pets and you love them and you care about them, you're gonna take some steps to make sure that they are, like, even, like, sort of well behaved. And he just doesn't. But he's also, I mean, oh, you know what other people were saying in the stream before is that, like, his dogs were always infested with fleas, and then therefore his house was infested with fleas. So there's a lot there, you know? I don't buy into the idea that Russ is a dog lover or an animal lover. I would buy into the idea more that Carol was, and she got him in on the whole dog food thing, and now he just does it for consistency, I guess. Like, I don't know. His dogs just aren't well trained. They're clearly not well taken care of, so I don't necessarily think that he loves them.
Some of them were afraid of him because he has an energy that is scary to a lot of people, especially dogs who are very.
I imagine it's
energies.
a dark aura that
There
your dad
is.
carries
Some of
for
the
sure.
dogs, some of the dogs loved him to death, and some of them were scared of him. But I think he loved
Just
all
like
of those
people,
dogs.
just like people in this whole saga.
I mean, he didn't love those dogs more than he loves himself. I mean, he can. It's all about himself at the end of the day. But he loved those
Yeah,
dogs
I
as
mean-
much as I think he could have.
I genuinely am convinced if your dad lost it all, he would be behind a building somewhere, with a dumpster turned on its side, making it into a haunt.
Probably.
And that
Oh yeah,
haunt.
he would
So-
be doing it no matter what the situation.
Yeah.
He'd be doing this no matter what. It really is his passion, unfortunately, because it's turned into something so crazy. But
Yeah.
he, for some reason, just loves this stuff.
Oh, I wonder what that reason could be. Sorry. The dogs he has now aren't. I don't think any of them are greyhounds. I've seen pictures of them, and I don't think they're. Maybe one of them is like a greyhound mix or something. But honestly, like greyhounds are in a lot of rescues and stuff. So if he's actually rescuing dogs, I mean, they all look like mutts. They're not purebred or anything. I want to say. Well, I don't know. I know for sure he has at least 3 dogs. I don't know if he has more, but they're not Carol's dogs. Pretty sure Carol had all the dogs from when they broke up, and Russ, I guess, would have gone out and gotten some of his own, and now they're on his property in Tennessee. But yeah, no, I can't imagine that Carol would let him keep any of the dogs, because they had like 9 dogs together. I think at one point they had like 13. So yeah, Carol liked the dogs. Russ no longer, from what I can tell, no longer has 13 dogs. So there's that.
And I don't understand why.
This interview was 2019,
Just
I think.
another
so
question I
Sure.
was seeing there. How have you gotten yourself to the where you are right now? How more physically stronger? Because as a kid myself, like I've gone through some stuff, and you've gone through way more.
It used to be for a greyhound rescue when he was in San Diego, and when he was in San Diego is when he was with Carol. Carol's the one who was doing all the shit for the greyhound rescue, and she's the one who came up with the dog food shit and brought all the dogs into the picture. Like, that was all Carol. And now that Carol's not in the picture anymore, Russ still does the dog thing. Like, since he moved to Tennessee, he did an interview with like a radio station or something, and he was saying like, oh, since we moved here, now I just use the dog food to feed all the stray dogs I can find, which to me says I use this dog food to feed my own pets, which fine, okay? Dog food's expensive, I get it. Like, I have to buy dog food too, I get it. But just say it, dude. Just say you're just feeding it to your, like, he uses the bags of dog food as props in the manor tours. He'll have them like crab walk with it, and like have them it's like a 40-pound, 50-pound bag of dog food that you'll put on your chest and then like crab walk with it. Or he'll put it in that stupid barrel and make them crawl through the yard with it on his back. Like, he'll use it as a prop, essentially like a weight, while he's making people exercise in his front yard. And then when they leave, he just gives the dog food to his dogs. So yeah, there is no rescue involved anymore. This was a thing that ended in 2017. He hasn't, from what I understand, he has not been giving dog food to a rescue for 5 to 6 years.
Stuff, and it's just like, how did you get yourself from that kid to your adult stage? Like, what kind of resources did you reach out for yourself?
I dabbled in therapy for quite some time. Talk therapy, which never really did anything for me because a lot of my trauma was through PTSD, and I needed to see specific doctors or a therapist that I didn't have access to. So I'm a huge advocate for therapy, but that's not why I am the way I am. That's not how I got over this.
Is there any online, just if you're just for where you're mentioning advocate there, if there's any online websites or any place that you know you would recommend for people if they were going through this, that they could get help on the internet, if there was anything like that, feel free to sort of open some tabs and get some URLs and just be posting
Yeah.
them. And anything that you do post, if you can save it so that we can repost it after this stream's done, basically. But yeah, if you've got anything you want to recommend, please feel free to do that so that people
Sure.
know what to go to.
Yeah, I think therapy is incredible. It didn't necessarily do anything for me, but I also think that's because I didn't have access to the right kind of therapy. When you're dealing with PTSD or abuse or trauma or any kind of mental disorders, cognitive behavioral therapy is always the best way to go. Which, if any of you out there don't know what that is, it's different than talk therapy because it's working at your issues. It's you know, not paperwork, but like homework and things that you can work on, tasks that you can do, things to make you mentally stronger. And
I think that's a really, sorry, I'm reading the chat. I think that's a really interesting conspiracy theory that I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing. Yeah, maybe we should ask Ben and Danny and all them if when they went through their tours if they had to provide a receipt. Because, well, I mean, Russ does have dogs, so it's like he's probably at least feeding some of it to the dogs. But it is a little curious. Listen, so I heard, I don't know how true this is, and I don't even remember what my source is, it's just in my head, that he got that plot of land and probably the trailer that's on it, the double wide trailer, for $30,000. That might just be what he paid for the land and then the either way, I mean, it's generally a cheap plot of land. So it's not like he allegedly has like a huge mortgage or anything like that. Like he's living in bumfuck Egypt, like pretty much, of Tennessee. And yeah, I can't imagine he's paying that much for it. So he works at Walmart, probably part-time, let's be honest. Works at Walmart and then like gets some money from the military. So he's not making that much money either. So it wouldn't surprise me. He doesn't make money from the haunt, although he does take deposits from people, which I thought was fascinating because it's always been the whole thing where it's like, oh, it's just dog food. So yeah, to hear that there's a deposit involved, I'm like, do people get that deposit back? Like, how does that work? I don't really know. How come no one ever talks about that until recently? Either way, Russ isn't rich. He's not making a buttload of money, so I don't know. I would not be surprised if he's returning the dog food for cash if he has a receipt.
And it's absolutely wonderful. I recommend it to all people. I haven't personally experienced it, but once I can afford it, I will see a therapist who provides CBT. But for the most part, for me personally, I don't really know how I got through it. I would give huge credit to my mom, who is like my angel and my best friend, and I wouldn't be able to have done any of this without her. And also medication. I've been on medication since on and off since I was 13 when I left. Medication for depression and anxiety. And when I was younger, I actually had OCD, just like my dad did. It's kind of faded away over time, but we kind of bonded on that a little bit because we both were like, this is weird. But I've been on medication for a while and it saved my life. And I hopefully want to get off of it someday. But for right now, it keeps me sane, it keeps me healthy, and it keeps my anxiety down. So I'm a huge advocate for therapy and also for medication if you really need it.
Just to ask, have you ever used the app Headspace?
I have heard about it, but I've never personally used it.
I recommend it if you want to.
Is it free?
They have a free part of it, but I definitely recommend trying it. It's a good way to meditate and relax, especially if you're having a lot of anxiety and you need to slow yourself down. It's pretty good. And again, there's things on YouTube that are similar to it that you can kind of go through that actually have them kind of like, hey, you're feeling this way, click on this. That's probably a really good thing, especially when you don't have access to resources. Like I'm in Canada. Same with Ron being in the UK. we do have free resources to CBT and DBT.
Cool, you don't have to
So
rub it in.
getting those resources in countries that you don't have it, finding free resources is everything. So if you haven't tried it, I definitely recommend it. It's something that you may be able to fit into your regular routine you have now.
Thank you.
And if it gets real bad, just marry Cap and move to Canada. Well, there you go. You know?
I swear, my livelihood and my career makes it so that I need to be in the States.
Yeah.
What an awkward thing
I
to
wish I
say.
could move to
Yeah.
Canada. That'd be great.
We'll
Ron can't read social cues. Like, why would you say that? Hey, you should marry this random guy. Go move to Canada. Marry my friend. Dude, Ron, stop.
we'll find someone to get you out to their Cap. It'll happen one day. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. So if there's any more questions that have been flying up the side there, let us know. So yeah, I'm clearly starting to lose it because I'm starting to make jokes now, and this isn't a place for jokes. All right.
I saw one question about
Sure.
how. Well, first
You,
of all,
you guys are much better at hosting this than I am. I'm freaking losing.
go
it,
to
man.
bed. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm
gracious.
just
I
gonna
don't
be
need
here.
you. I don't need anything.
Exactly.
You really don't.
Tonight in your platform, I'm just gonna sit here and make sure I don't say anything else. So you guys just have a moment, please.
I just to quickly touch on this whole second location thing that doesn't exist.
Okay.
He has one location and that's it.
Why don't you do
That's really funny, too, because, like, he's still pushing the whole second location thing. Like, again, go watch Reckless Ben's new video. Like, he literally told Nathan, one of Ben's friends, like, oh, yeah, we're gonna meet at the second location, and then, like, kind of led him on a wild goose chase. No, even to this day, he's always bringing up Huntsville in Alabama. Like, and everyone always says, no, there's never been a Huntsville McCamey Manor location ever. He's been dragging this lie out for so long. It's like, but no one's ever seen it, Russ. So like, when are you gonna drop it?
do some myth busting for us? Yeah, I mean
I mean that's that, and then the whole like obviously what I touched on before with the needles and the teeth pulling, that's not real. A lot of it is mind over matter. I mean, he does do crazy things, but he doesn't inject you with drugs. In my opinion, I don't think that he's a pedophile. In my opinion, again, I haven't seen him in 10 years. Things change.
Sure.
Things happen. I think that he has mental illness, which no one talks about, and I think that's important to talk about.
I think it's weird that she thinks that no one has ever talked about Russ having a mental illness, because I think that almost goes without saying, huh? Like, I mean, I guess for a lot of people, it's like, it's kind of rude to assume that people are mentally ill when they're not, but like, people like Russ, it's like, yeah, no, clearly you're not like normal, you know? Yeah, Lindsay, I think we're all aware. I mean, that's cool that she came out and kind of like specified it. Like she said he has OCD, BPD, narcissistic, what is that one? Narcissistic personality disorder or something like that. And then, did I say OCD? I don't know. He's got all the things. So that's cool that she like specified what it is he had. But like also, I'm pretty sure Carol mentioned the OCD. I know Holly mentioned the OCD in their original statements. Like, who's not talking about this? I think it's pretty obvious.
And there's no second location. I think that's all I can think of.
Here's ones
And
that's
some
popped
of
up.
the tours, some of the more famous tours are staged, just so that's clear.
Okay.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. What is her source on that? Because the famous tours, if you go on his YouTube channel, there are a few that have like millions of views, and I believe the Mario and Luigi brothers are one of, if not like the highest view. Like there are plenty, but like the most popular ones, he's straight like, I can't show them to you. You can go watch them if you want, although I advise against it because it's pretty fucking disturbing. He like force feeds nasty shit to everyone there, and then they vomit and he makes them fucking eat it, dude. Like, you don't fake that. You don't stage that. What do you mean it's staged? Oh, some of the most famous haunts are staged. Okay, he's dragging people behind a fucking truck. And no one saw that footage until literally today because of, thanks to Reckless Ben, getting his hands on that hard drive. Like, goddamn. Love that shit. But listen, to say that some of the most popular haunts are staged, like, no way. And you had, like, literally the Surviving Life interview before her was that Christina Buster chick, and she's on one of the more popular ones. I think one of her tours has like 800,000 views on YouTube. You're gonna say that shit's staged? She got her head shaved. Her face was swollen. It's really? It's staged? Lori Brotherton, hello? It's staged? I don't fucking think so. I'm sorry. I think that's bullshit.
And he started doing that even when I lived with him. Was like
Telia, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
He knows what gets attention. So, but also a lot of them are very real. So, I saw one message about how to handle abusive parents, which, you know, that's a big reason why I wanted to come on tonight, was to talk about mental illness and
Sure, yeah,
abuse and things
absolutely.
like that. And I think that the
videos
best
are
way
disturbing.
to handle abuse in any relationship, especially with your parents, because that's definitely a toughie, is to understand their illness first and foremost, and to come at it from a human and empathetic point of view. And I think you should do that in all aspects of your life, because we're all human beings, and I like to believe that we all have good in us, and we're all just hurt little people walking around the planet with.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. We are. Your dad is far beyond that. I don't like humanizing Russ. I'm not convinced he's human at this point. I think he's a fucking trash goblin.
All of our trauma and all of our bullshit. If you're being physically and emotionally and psychologically abused, the best answer is to understand, forgive, and get the fuck out. You know, just move on with your life and leave. Don't let it get worse. And, you know, I've had my fair share of bad relationships, because when you have a bad relationship with your parents, it's hard to know what good relationships look like. So I've learned a lot about that, and it really is just knowing what you deserve, even if it's your parents, if it's a boyfriend, if it's a colleague. Know what you deserve and how you deserve to be treated.
Yeah.
And if someone is ill, you can't fight crazy. You can't rationalize something that cannot be rationalized. So just get out and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I gotta say about that.
It's good advice, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Josh from the Josh Show is asking, you know, do you think your dad will get mentally worse? And if so, how far do you think it's likely to go?
I don't know how much worse it can get, you guys. I mean,
yeah.
Murder? Yeah, Russ allegedly hasn't murdered anyone yet, but exactly, yet. Like, how much worse can it get? I don't know. Your dad could start straight up taking the lives away from people. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's
I mean, I don't think he'll ever kill anybody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But
Okay, so you admit that you know how much worse it can get. What the fuck?
This haunt thing just needs to be taken away. And he needs to find another outlet. I don't
know if he does, honestly. Unless that other outlet does not involve harming other people or himself. I mean, especially other people. Whatever. Russ, you do whatever you want to yourself, okay? But, like, I'm not convinced that he will ever be able to have the kind of release that he gets from scorching people. I don't think that he'll ever find that same release in anything else. I think if McCamey Manor gets taken away from him, in my personal opinion, I think he will find another way to continue to harm people. I think that is his outlet. And it can only really get worse, you know?
Yeah, whether that's therapy. And I know he's been to therapy. I mean, he's tried his whole life to try and figure out what is wrong with him. And he just doesn't like to listen to people. It's like 1 second he's like, yes, you're right, I'm going to change. And the next second it's all back to normal.
Do you think any of Russ's fear of never having the haunt is a fear of losing a possible venting outlet for this extreme behavior that he's always possessed? Do you think if he lost the haunt, he would become Oh, and now listen, I'm not meaning this to sound like a buzz phrase, but do you think he would become dangerous to himself or other people in a serious way if he lost that final thread and lost the haunt completely?
That's definitely possible. I mean, he's
Yeah.
already, in my opinion, a danger to himself and others,
Yeah.
especially those who are close to him. Very dangerous. So I don't know. There's really no way to know with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, the news today in regards
Oh
to
God, what did he
the
do?
manor.
No, well, it's gone. Like I'll
Yeah,
show
I mean, he says that he
he says that.
Exactly.
I mean, do you think he's the master of balancing the positive PR, the negative PR, and just working the whole internet system with regards to what's going to spread his name and get things
Yeah.
noticed again?
Yeah,
and-
I mean, I think he does that accidentally. I don't think he's bright enough about the internet to really know.
I think he does it accidentally. Love
I
that.
don't think he knows really what he's doing.
Love that.
But you know,
Just so
he
everyone
says-
knows
he
what we're
says the haunt
talking
is
about.
over, but I don't believe.
Yeah. Yeah, just so everyone knows what we're talking about, I'm just referring to this post.
This was mentioned in the last Surviving Life interview. This, again, if anyone's seeing this and being like, what? It's, shut down. No. This was from like 2019 or some shit like that. So, clearly the temporary part of him being out of business was quite temporary. Yeah. As defined by the word temporary, it did not last very long. He is very clearly back in business.
And a live stream. This was a post made subsequently after.
Rejects, yikes! That's my life.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
I am
So-
a Mckamy Manor reject.
Like, it's yeah. I mean, like I say, it was people were excited about it and all the rest. But to be honest, it sounds like Russ without the manor is more dangerous than Russ with the manor, metaphorically speaking. So
I mean, it's less dangerous to the public. It's more dangerous to himself and the people who are around him in close ways.
yeah.
You know, whoever this new girl that he's with, which by the way I think is so weird, him and all his young girlfriends. I'm like, dude, you are an old man. What is going on?
Right. So she was almost 22 at this point, and he was dating that Haley girl, and Haley was 24, I believe, at the time. Yeah, like her 60 whatever year old dad was dating someone basically her age. That is weird. I'm sorry, that's weird. You might be one of those people who's like, love is love. Oh, it's what the heart wants, what the heart wants. Okay. No, especially if that's your dad and he's dating someone your age. No, that's weird. I'm sorry. It's weird.
Haley, I think her name is.
Yeah, Haley.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you watch the live streams with them, it's just weird. His attitude with her is just creepy and weird, and you can tell she's uncomfortable, and you can tell she's anxious. And
I don't
feel
think
bad for
so.
her, but
I literally sat there and watched, like, I don't want to say all of the lives that Haley was involved in, but I watched a lot of them, and she plays into it. Like, she's into it, dude. I don't know what Lindsay was watching, where she thinks that Haley is hanging around Russ, and she's clearly uncomfortable. I don't buy it. What are you watching? Because everything I saw, even, like, she's still in the Mckamy Manor Facebook group, unless she got kicked out or whatever with Ben taking over the group. But yeah, that's something he didn't mention in the video. So I wonder what the story is behind that, dude. There's still so much. But anyway, yeah, that Haley girl is still in there. Like, she didn't get excommunicated like the rest of Russ's exes did. Yeah, she's still there. And she was still appearing in lives with Russ, like in-person lives, some of them alone, as of this year. So, yeah, she was hanging around Russ for a few years and is apparently still doing it. So I don't think she's uncomfortable. And if she was uncomfortable, she probably wouldn't be hanging out with him. Like, I don't know.
And is that, again, I mean, do you think we're just witnessing repetition once again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is, if it's his daughter or if it's his partner. He will take advantage of, especially people who are weak-minded or people who have any sort of self-esteem issues. Oh God. That's
And
like
do you think he's got a heightened acute sense for picking out the vulnerable?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, it only makes sense if you look at all the women he's dated.
More support there coming from Kat. Just so you know, he's coming up on the screen there for being brave, and you know, I appreciate your thanks for the channel as well. Like I say, all these. This is what feeds my kids, so I appreciate it. I really do.
I will happily judge a relationship between Russ McKamy and a 24-year-old. Sorry, not sorry. I will judge the shit out of that consensual relationship. Also, I don't think that they're consensual anyway. I think to say that Russ uses his charisma to manipulate these young women, yeah, I think that teeters on the edge of consent. It's like, I guess it's not hypnotism or whatever, but it's, yeah, no, I'm gonna judge the shit out of it. Sorry. Except I'm not sorry. I'm not gonna apologize for that. It's weird. A 24-year-old dating Russ McKamy is weird.
Now, just give me a second. Cap, you got any more questions while I try and find this thing? So thanks very much, Kat. I really appreciate that. I really do.
Actually, I just have one here. Have you?
I didn't say it wasn't legal. I said it's weird. And it is like objectively weird.
Actually, no, because you haven't tried to reach out to your dad at all, have you?
Mm-mm.
Have you tried to reach out to anybody who's in contact with him since? No?
I've got one for you. How are you? I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How's your mum's recovery been? Like, how's that?
She's a godsend.
I mean, how's that? I mean, I don't even know how to phrase this. How's your mum?
I know what you
How was
mean.
your mum throughout it all? Hang on, I don't know where that beeping's coming from. There's
No
a
one can
beeping
hear
coming
it,
from
Ron.
somewhere.
It's just
We just have to
you.
write it out, guys. There's a beeping. It's in my room. It's a watch. It's gone. It's fine.
Shut the fuck up. No one hears it.
Sorry, my 3-year-old daughter likes to hide this digital watch around my
Oh,
room.
you have a
No one
3-year-old
cares.
baby? Oh my goodness.
Oh, I've got a
You
10-week-old
poor soul.
baby.
Go to bed.
Ron,
I've
no
got
one
a
cares.
10-week-old baby, a 5-year-old son, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 18-year-old. So it's
Jesus
mixed bunch.
Christ.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Good for him.
Yeah,
What? He has 4 offspring? Ron, what is happening? What is going on in the world where we have someone like Ron who has reproduced 4 times? Like, what?
Bless your wife.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
She's an amazing woman, and yeah, she really does do a lot to make sure that this platform can exist. To be perfectly honest, we
That's good.
big shout out to Mrs. Swanson there for keeping the minions at bay while
Hey, Miss
we try and do
Swanson,
that.
you're the bomb.
Are we really in the chat right now arguing subjective morality? Because like there are plenty of things in this world that are illegal, that I don't think should be illegal and are morally fine. Like, where are you getting your morality from? Like, do we need to get into that? Like, what is your definition of morality, and where does it come from? And also, why is morality and weird, like, being... Things can be moral and weird? I don't know. I don't think that those two are mutually exclusive. Like, what are we talking about here? Sir, you are arguing a losing argument. I think it's weird. People in the chat think it's weird. Some people don't think it's weird. That's fine. Weird is subjective. And yeah, no, I just can't. The whole morality argument drives me fucking crazy.
Love you, girl.
Yeah. So yeah, your mum's recovery must have been equally as hard. I mean, I imagine.
I would say even, I mean, I don't want to make anyone's situation worse, or, you know, we all have our own experiences, but to get out of an abusive relationship with a man like my dad, and to also have children and children with him, that is mindfuckery that I can't even explain, you know. And my mom is the strongest woman in the entire world, and I mean, she's truly an angel, and I mean, I truly can't imagine life without her.
Yeah.
But she had a lot of issues with everything, because she was still being abused by him even after they were broken up, because he just wraps you around his fist, and it's just it's hard to explain. But I mean, even when I was going through abuse, my mom didn't know what to do, because she was like, nothing's physical. he's not hitting you. How do I
Okay,
explain
that's not.
to a court system what's going on? No
That's not a court system can recognize that physical abuse is not the only kind of abuse. Like what?
one's ever heard of this new psychological torture he's doing. Like, no one's, and that he was only doing it to me and Carol. My brother was gone, and the haunt wasn't really that crazy yet. It was just me, and I was completely alone. And I mean, I had Carol. But
It's
Carol
okay. I was getting
so,
feisty too.
under his wing, and she.
I watch too much atheist content, so like when people start trying to push their morality on other people, but like can't explain where their morality comes from, it just wants to be like, sorry, no, I'm not gonna get into that shit. I just like every time it gets brought up, I'm like, are you like shut the fuck up?
So abused in ways I can't even fathom. That she couldn't help me, my mom couldn't help me. So I think that really bothers my mom even to this day, that she couldn't do anything. I mean, we were all helpless. And it's just so crazy that this one man had so much power over all of our lives, over all of these beautiful, strong women's lives. It's crazy.
Quick question there, just asking how your brother's doing as well.
Yeah, Russell's doing great. He lives far, far away.
Yeah.
In a different state.
Yeah.
And he's my best friend. I love him so, so much. He's engaged. He has a beautiful home and a booming business as a music producer. And he is, he has all of the good.
I agree,
qualities
Toilet
about
Cat. It
him, and
is
none of the bad things.
quite hilarious.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so good to hear the success that you guys have all made from your life since you managed to free yourself from this, because you can see the lasting effect it's had on other people in Russ's life, and people that have been there a long time, short time, people that have interacted with Russ just on the internet and gone through the haunt. I mean, I think you guys are great examples of what can be for those who are currently going through what you went through. And I don't know, you might not know much about the channel.
No, I think that was a valid topic of conversation. It's pretty obvious. Like, they were, what was it, like a almost 40-year age gap? Like, it's hard not to talk about that. At that point, it's like not even an elephant in the room. It's like, it's the entire room, Like, we're all here and we need to talk about it. It is, when we're talking about objective and subjective, I would say that it is objectively weird. If I don't know. I think you're lying to yourself if you can look at Russ McKamy dating a 24-year-old and be like, that's not weird. What reality are you living in? Like, I'm sorry, but that's weird. Like, in so many ways.
We run a whole series called the Survivor series where, survivors of abuse tell their stories and things like that. And, there's so much of what you're saying just resonates from the stories that we've heard and the people that I've interacted with. And there is such a massive percentage of survivors that are the most empathetic, caring individuals that I've ever met, in ways that I couldn't fathom myself coming through the other side of a lot of these stories, even a fraction of how people like yourself have, and through how other survivors have. I just think the strength that it takes not only to free yourself, but to rebuild yourself is incredible.
It's hard to not go on, and I'm sure other people who have dealt with abuse of any sort knows this, but it's hard to not leave furious. And it's hard to not leave feeling helpless and hopeless and like there's no faith in fucking anyone. If someone could do this to me, how could I ever trust anyone again? If someone could do this to their child and not think that anything's wrong with it, I mean, what fucking luck do I have, moving forward? And a lot of people who go through these similar issues do leave the situation angry and sad and lost. And I definitely was for a while. And everyone who's ever left my dad go through, I mean, it never leaves you. It's with you forever. I mean, what Holly's going through right now, she's going to go through for the rest of her life. It doesn't matter if she was with him for a year or if she was like Carolyn with him for 15 years. I mean, this shit affects you.
Trauma do be like that.
Have faith in yourself and faith in the world every single day. And you have to find empathy in every single person you come across, even the people who hurt you the most. And I think that's a big thing for all survivors of anything to think about is just have faith and forgive as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, we just had a super chat came in there from Anton. 1 second, I just want to put that back out there. Free support groups resource if interested until you can get therapy. Depression Bipolar Support Alliance, NAMI. So thank you very much for that. And like I say, this has all been thrown together this evening, and we will make sure to gather up any links and things like this. I know I kind of threw you on the spot there, Lindsay, with links and suggestions.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, I don't have any links for you guys.
that's okay. That's okay.
My beautiful naked face right
Just
before
my-
bed.
just my
That's all I
naked
have to
face.
offer you.
That's fine.
I wish my face looked good without makeup on like that. Like for having Russ's DNA, she is attractive. Like she's a good-looking person. It's like I can see Russ's features in her, but somehow she pulls it off. So, but Russ really got the shit end of the stick in his genetic lottery. She didn't turn out too bad, you know.
Don't worry. I'm pretty sure.
Pajamas.
My pajamas. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. My brain's liquefying, so it's all good. Like we're all living it. But I just want to say, if you wake up tomorrow and you want to come back to the platform, you know you're always welcome. I'm not wrapping it up this now. I just want to reiterate that to you. It's not about pushing an agenda with us. You're going to hear people contradict you, or you're going to hear you contradicting people, and it's just the way it is. It's about the truth. It's about allowing people to have their say, and you're always welcome to, you know, if there's anything that's said in the coming days that you want to come back and respond to, or anything like that, we're here. So just know that it doesn't end. And I swear to God, I heard myself last night saying this after I said it, and I was like, wow, which freaking TV chat show freaking out of the box therapy nonsense crap are you spilling when you're like, you know, it doesn't just end after the story ends. We're here for you guys, all the rest of it. But it's true, we are, and that goes for everyone that's involved in this. And you know, you seem to be just killing it, Lindsay. Like you seem to be super.
How does Ron say so many words and yet at the same time he says absolutely nothing at all? Like he talks for so long, he says so many words, and none of it means anything. He just talks.
Per like together, and it's awesome.
It's
really
all fake. I am a destroyed human being.
One mask to hide the rest.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like there's no shame in saying this, but I am extremely
I don't
proud
think
of
you do.
myself. And I think it's good to acknowledge when you're proud of yourself.
Good for her.
You know, I'll be 22 in January, and I feel like of everything I've gone through, of everything that my mom's gone through, it's truly just made us stronger and wiser. And I live my life, you know, with understanding and positivity and all that bullshit. So there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Stronger than you know. Like coming out here and speaking to both of us, that's really, really tough. Like a lot of people would not be able to do that.
And I don't talk about this ever.
I know.
I'm actually shocked I haven't been in tears this whole time.
She's doing a pretty good job
you know.
considering all
I think
things.
you have
Must be the
done.
vodka. Just kidding.
I think you've done. Yeah,
I wish it was vodka.
I think you've done amazing. I think you've done incredible. I wish that I had perhaps not been as tired as I am, and I just want to say, you know, I'm quite happy for people to share all these videos around and use them in their own videos and things like that. Just let people know where you got them from, and you know, just show people like Lindsay and everyone that's been on here that has suffered at the hand of RUSS, whether people's perceptions of things are different, whether it's your perception, Lindsay, or whether it's anybody else's.
So he's talking
You've
again, but
all
saying
been
nothing.
affected in one way or another, and that's why we're all here. And I really wish, the only thing that I wish was different about this was that there was some, even just a smidgen, that we could end this whole thing with your dad getting help, making this some epic, mega Hollywood fucking success story, right? And
That's wishful thinking,
him
dude.
walking out and, you know, realizing everything. It actually suddenly going,
I mean, God, that would be so ideal, wouldn't it? But
Yeah, in a
unfortunately,
perfect world,
I
dude.
don't see that as being possible.
Wish Jesus!
And that's okay. As long as he stops hurting people and can hopefully move on with his life in some way,
Oh
I have to move forward with mine. And I wanted to share
AliExpress Jesus. Oh fuck, that's funny.
But at the end of the day, I just wanted to give you guys a new perspective that I don't think anyone's talked about.
I think it's an incredibly valid perspective, and I think this has been years in the making. This perspective, I think this has been. I don't think I truly realized just how massive a deal this is for everyone and for yourself. And again, it's because of my brain. It's 5 o'clock in the morning now. We're doing this razor wire. It's getting me through this. Yeah, exactly. This is actually rosé, and you're drinking the gin. So, you know, we're on the same page here. It's all good. Let's just get through it, and I'll move to Canada and get all the help we need. That's what we need to do. Let's just do that. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. It's a long commute between work, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. That's all right.
Make it work. We can make it work. Well, listen, we're hitting the hour and a quarter mark. Like I say, if we end up wrapping this up and you want to come back, or you want to, like, I'm really interested in you processing this over a couple of days, and
There's
hopefully
still like 10
feeling
minutes
like
left to this.
any worries you had about coming on.
See, like, it feels like he's wrapping it up, but like there's still like more to sit through. And I haven't watched through the end of this because this is around the time where I ended up clicking off. So like I understand if y'all are bored, because like I clicked off this interview like 3 times around this point. So they might drop some crazy bombshells that I don't know about, but like, yeah, he starts wrapping it up, but like what is there left to talk about?
Aren't going to be there anymore because
your people are very kind. Everyone's so nice. I was expecting you to be like, fuck her.
Yeah, no, listen, we
Everyone's
pride
very
ourselves.
nice. Good night,
our little
Ron.
corner of the internet, we try and keep the toxicity at the door. Like,
That's
it's
good. That's hard to do, so that's good.
It's just 10 minutes
it
of
is
Ron
a
sleepwalking.
freaking spicy meatball. I'll tell you that. It's a spicy nugget. My admin team, my team behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everyone makes this possible. I have the easy part of the job, which is just staying conscious and putting the content out. Do you know what I'm saying? The team that I have are the ones who are running around killing.
Yeah, how does he even have a team who like deals with him, dude? The conscious part. Hey, Ron, go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Honestly, the show would be so much better without you, Ron.
It. And that's the Discord admins, the live streamed admins, live streamed admins, everybody. I love you guys, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for, you know, giving me this platform and blah blah blah.
Sleep talking. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so listen, before I literally collapse, all right, I just want you to take a minute, and if there's anything else you want to put out there, and just say, I don't care if it runs on for another 40 minutes, because I want you to have the platform. I just don't want.
Yeah,
you
let her
feel
do
like
it, and
I'm
you go to
wrapping this
sleep.
up, and then, because I know what I'm like when someone wraps stuff up. I'm like, oh shit, there's those 10 ideas I forgot an hour ago. So I just want to just allow you to sort of end this particular session or this particular episode on your terms. I don't want to wrap anything up. I want you to make sure. Oh Jesus, make sure you've said what you feel like you've come here to say this evening. And again, don't feel like I say, you might never want to do a live again. We can sit down and do a video.
If this was the only live I ever did and Ron was the one running it, yeah, I would never want to do another live again either.
There's a whole bunch of options. So just, if there's anything else you'd like to add, please do it before I ramble, because I'm rambling. This is rambling. This is a man rambling.
We
All
know.
Right? I'm just going to turn this off again. Cap, why are you letting me speak? Like, what are you even doing? I'm questioning your abilities, Cap.
Dude, real talk though, what is Cap even doing there? If Cap is not the one who's like keeping Ron on course, what are you even there for? Hashtag make Ron shut up again.
I'm just hiding now behind the guest. I'm just like, haha, I'm safe now. I'm safe now.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
Rough.
well,
That's okay. I don't know if I have anything else. I you know, if anyone has any questions that I can answer, because I'm still seeing a lot of questions popping up. I don't want to assume that you guys want to know certain things and then go rambling about something you guys don't care about.
He's
So,
shifting the blame now.
While I'm here. My
Right, talk about not being able to take responsibility for yourself. Yeah, we already know that fucking Russ can't take responsibility for himself. But now we have Ron up in here who's like, it's my moderator's fault. Meh. Shut up, Ron. Like, literally just shut up.
my mom said something. Oh, she said, I'm proud of you. Fuck. Love you, Linda. Love you, girl. Best mom ever.
oh, that's awesome. I'm just trying to.
T-Leah, is that what that says? I think it says T-Leah. My eyes don't work. Thank you for the super chat. Hashtag make Ron shut up again. I mean, am I wrong? Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't know. Yeah, if I don't. Am I? Should I look at questions, or do you want to pick?
Yeah, of course. Listen,
I'm being called.
it's probably better that you steer the ship than the wreck of the pilot that's doing it right now. So you just dive in. You just
Wrong.
dive in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
There's-
have any?
I was gonna say actually, there's a bunch of questions in the Discord.
Oh
On
shit.
from
Let's not ask Ron any questions because then he will never stop. Please.
That's good.
so
Do a
uh,
lightning round. Lightning round.
yeah,
Lightning round. Yeah. Bonus round.
I already know the answer to this, and I think you already said it during the start of the stream. Jess asked, have you and Carol spoken since all this has come to light? You were saying earlier that you,
Ooh, good
you literally
question.
just spoke with her.
Yeah. Carol and I didn't talk for like 8 years, and then I randomly messaged or friended her on Facebook after I found out that she had left. The only reason I didn't keep communication with her was she still was with my dad.
That makes
and
sense.
Then I, found out she left and immediately messaged her. I told her I was happy for her, and we talked and caught up with each other for a little bit. We haven't spoken in a couple years, and then today I was watching her video of an interview she did, and I messaged her and I was like, I just need to talk to someone about this. I'm confused, I'm upset, I'm mad all over again. And we just got off the phone and we just had a short little 20-minute phone call, just like spewing out our issues for 20 minutes, but it was good.
To be a fly on the wall for that, man.
Carol and I have a really interesting relationship because she was there through all of that, and she's known me. I mean, obviously she only knew me from 5 to 13, but she was a mother figure for me, and was the only person taking care of me when I was at my dad's house. So, we had our issues because she was under the wrath of my father, but she was a really good thing. It was really good that she was there. So
Actually, this is a question I just thought about. The term that a lot of people give your dad's actors he has there are the Kool-Aid drinkers. Was that a thing that was spoken when you were little, that when you were helping along?
I've literally never heard of that phrase
Yeah.
in my life. The Kool-Aid drinkers? What does that even mean?
It's a terminology that refers back to a cultist-like following. There was a cult leader who had hundreds of followers and murdered them all, or got them all to commit suicide by drinking poison Kool-Aid. Babies,
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny.
I wouldn't use the
I
word
don't know how to respond to
funny.
that.
Yeah. Well,
I have not heard of that, but
No, that answers it. That literally answers it, because
Yeah.
Right.
it's something that's more. I'm assuming with as we all know, with untreated mental illness, things do decline. It probably is something that became more of a common thing, or
Yeah.
a common act during more recent times.
It's also so funny. I keep seeing videos of like random little kids that say that they're my dad's kids, and I just want to say the only
What?
children my dad have are me and my brother, and we're both grown. So if people are always worried, they're like,
That's
"Who are these little
weird.
kids," and it's like, it's fake. Those aren't his kids. So anyway,
Oh, I wonder if she's talking about the Guardian did a video. I mean, but that was back in San Diego. So like I thought that Lindsay might have been one of those kids, but like there were 3 kids there. And I swear they were like, my dad likes to scorcher people. He likes to hurt people. And it's like, okay, who are these kids? Does Carol have kids? Maybe she'll answer it. But like, I wonder if that's what she's talking about. Saying that they're, yeah. Well, that's weird. That's suspicious.
I'm worried that he's around
That's
kids.
weird.
He's not. We are both grown, so just put it out there.
One question here too is, I don't even know this. I don't know if you know it, Ron. Do you know how old his new girlfriend is?
I have no idea. She looks fucking 18 years old though.
She was 24, I'm pretty sure.
I also don't know if she's his girlfriend. I mean, when you watch, like I said, when you watch these live feeds of them, she looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and,
like I was past her Facebook last night through a message, and her display picture was him and her.
things. Yeah.
She does not have that on her Facebook anymore. It's her and some other guy. However, she's still in the McCamey Manor Facebook group last I knew. I can't check now because I finally got kicked out. But, yeah, I don't know what happened with that. And that's really fascinating. Because usually when people stop dating Russ, they get excommunicated because Russ, like, it's never an amicable split, you know? But somehow with Haley it was. But anyway, when she did her, because she was a contestant for the Manor or whatever also, that's how she met Russ. And in her original video, where she goes into the group and does a live and introduces herself, she said she was 24, and I believe that was 2019. So, my bye, thank you for gifting 5 membership. Oops, nope, not that one, this one.
It's a pop-tart party right now. Look at all the pop-tarts in here. Everybody has a pop-tart by their icon. Hey, more pop-tarts in the chat.
Thank you, my bye, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Forgot what we were talking about, but wait, you don't know what? You don't know shit? Are you kidding me? And with this serious an allegation, how could you possibly believe you know better? Wait, what was I talking about? What are you talking about? I don't even remember. Who knows?
I have no idea.
So
I think it's just odd. Hopefully
She's
a
around,
baby.
yeah, around 24, 25. They're saying out there.
Oh, I mean, that's not that bad. She looks very young, but I don't know how old she is.
Okay.
Oh, we were talking about Haley.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Someone asking about if you watched the Netflix show that your dad was.
I did actually. I watched it with my brother. I visited him in where he lives about a year ago when it came out, and we both, were drinking and eating, and we were like, let's watch this while we have dinner. And it was supposed to be like a funny thing where we were like, look.
Yeah, T. Leah, and this is interesting. I don't know if I've said this anywhere publicly, but Russ has it so ever since, because like a couple weeks ago, Ben and Danny and all those, and Wolf ended up hacking the McCamey Manor Facebook group, but they say that they like basically did like a legal kind of backdoor way into doing it, which I don't know the details of that. I'm very interested to find out the details. I'm sure that'll be coming up in another YouTube video from Reckless Ben in the future, hopefully. But when that happened, they like kicked a bunch of people out and then added a bunch of people. So now Russ has it so that anyone who gets accepted into the group has to provide a picture of their fucking ID. So basically, Russ needs to know where you live if you want to join his Facebook group. He's trying to weed out all the haters and the fake people. So, yeah, you have to, and I think you have to send him like a 2-minute long video, like introducing yourself pretty much and saying why you want to join the group, and also send a picture of your photo ID. Like, one of my best friends was like, yeah, if you get kicked out, it's fine. Like, I'll join for you. And I'm like, you could, if you want to jump through all the hoops. I'm like, that's wild. Like, yeah, at this point, I think it's pretty fair to say it's very much so approaching actual, factual cult territory.
You know how crazy Dad is, but it became very emotional and like brought back a lot of things. And my brother and I were like sobbing. It was, yes, we did watch it. It was traumatic, and just very strange to see that he was getting that publicity, and we were just kind of like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Another question here is, does he actually keep all the onesies that everyone has to wear?
Yeah, someone already. Oh yeah, what he just said. Answer that question real quick. Yeah, he puts them on a wall. T. Leah, I think you're in the. I feel like I've seen your name in the McCamey Manor Exposed Facebook group, but maybe not. I don't know. Someone did that. Someone sent him a picture of the McLovin ID, and he blocked them immediately. So that doesn't work.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, what you guys are saying that it's probably doxing ammo? Yeah, probably. I would say absolutely, yeah. That was something that was made really clear in Ben's video today. That who was it? It was that guy. I think it. Well, Ben bleeped his name out. So I guess I shouldn't say his name, but he's we'll just say he's the guy who was interviewing Carol in her original interview with the long hair and the facial hair and whatever. He started the original like exposing Mckamy Manor Facebook group or whatever. And he said that like once he started speaking out about RUSS, he got doxxed. Like RUSS was sending his address around to people, and he ended up like losing his family over it. Like it ruined his life because of RUSS doxing him basically. So I guess for all the people, and I see this a lot in all the comment sections, in every video, every Facebook group, every forum, people asking like, why doesn't anyone talk out or speak out about RUSS? It's because he literally does. He blackmails people. He doxes people. He does this. He literally does this. Holly said that he was giving out her phone number so that people would harass her. I have not been harassed yet. I'm just waiting. It'll probably happen. Although I do think that for the most part, people kind of have their angry sights set on Ben and Danny and all those people. Like if anyone's going to get harassed, it's them. But I don't know. I mean, it could certainly happen to any of us. They're all so unhinged. It could happen to any of us. That being said, yeah, I mean, you can't really say like, oh, it's just a bunch of empty threats. Like RUSS doesn't actually mean it, but he has a history of doxing people. It's really sad. Like it's really fucked up. So, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that
someone found it as a
I think we're choosing questions perhaps out of the realm of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I
I mean, sure. We're getting more into like the fan based questions of RUSS here, and I don't really want to put Lindsay in a position where we're feeding her questions like that. So, you know.
I mean, I have some answers to things like certain things that are fake or certain things that are.
Well,
whatever.
one thing that came up that I think I'm interested in is, do you know about anything that went on with this van? Like people keep talking about, I don't know what happened in the van. I was taken in a van. And again, that's just me because I don't know. I'm not queued up on all of the key points, but I know that part of the haunt, there was a van and it seems to be a bad place. And I don't know if you have anything to add on that or if
I
I'm...
personally have no idea about what happened in there. Based off of my knowledge of my dad, it was probably more smoke and mirrors than anything else.
He had a fucking freezer in the van filled with freezing cold water, and he forced people to get into it while he drove the van around his neighborhood 100 times. But no, it's just smoke and mirrors. Actually, well, I mean, maybe Russ is the one driving the van. Or maybe he's in the van filming. I feel like I've just heard accounts of people being like, I didn't meet Russ until like the van part was over. Like we got to his house and that's when you meet Russ. But maybe Russ is there the whole time. He's gotta be there the whole time, right? It can't just be the actors acting without Russ there. Maybe. I don't know. But you're really gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, nothing that they do in the van is real. They literally like you can go watch the videos. See, that's why this is frustrating because like you can watch the videos. They'll smack people around, dude. Like physically put their hands on people and smack them around, shove them in the freezer full of water that they have in there. But no, it's just smoke and mirrors. Oh my God, it is not though.
Like I said before,
get in the freezer, Ron.
Victims. But he is a master of psychological manipulation, a master I mean, seriously, you can be the mentally the strongest person in the world, and that man will run you down. So if he tells
Mhm.
you, "I'm poisoning you, I'm putting a needle in you, I'm taking out your teeth," in that moment, you're gonna believe him. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of sexual abuse allegations with him. I personally don't agree with them because
She's quiet. I'm sorry. Let me turn her
he
up.
has a lot of issues towards due to his sexual trauma.
Okay, but he's literally like there's been multiple victims speaking out about their well, actually, I mean it's interesting. I mean interesting in the worst way, I guess. That so if you guys haven't watched Ben's video yet today, you need to. It's amazing. But long story short, he got his hands on that hard drive that if you watched my last live stream of these interviews, he was interviewing one of the Cadis Silvis guys. What's his name? Anthony or something like that. And Anthony was telling Holly, like, oh yeah, like I had this hard drive and it was immediately destroyed. Well, Ben has the hard drive now. He ended up getting his hands on it. He went to the Cadis Silvis house's Cadis Silvis's guy's house and talked to him and interviewed him. So that, I mean, those things exist, dude. They exist. And allegedly, if we're to take Anthony, whatever his fucking name is, Cadis Silvis man, if we're to take his word for it, he alleges that there are videos of an S tape of Russ taking advantage of Holly on that hard drive. So the only people that can verify that right now are Ben and Danny and all the people who have access to that hard drive now. The thing is that at this point, and obviously I think that Ben knows what the fuck he's doing. I think that he will do the right thing with it. Rebecca, I'll get to you in a second here. Let me do this before I forget. I think he'll do the right thing by turning that stuff into the police. If that stuff is on the hard drive, if Cadis Silvis guy is to be believed and that shit is on there, that needs to go to authorities, that needs to be investigated. Because that, in my opinion, that's like criminal, that's evidence of a crime at that point. And I think, like I was saying earlier, the only happy ending for humanity of this whole McCamey Manor saga is if Russ is rotting in prison. That's the only, because if McCamey Manor is taken away from Russ, he's gonna find another outlet, and that could be even worse than whatever it is he's doing now, okay? That's why he needs to be in a jail cell. Anyway, for her, this circles back around to what Lindsay's saying. She's basically discrediting and denying the SA accusations against Russ when allegedly there's video proof of it. And I guess to all the people who are like, oh, Ben got the hard drive, can't wait to see what's on it. And it's like, I don't think we're going to see what's on it. At least not now. And definitely those videos of Holly, if they're on there, we're never seeing those. And we shouldn't ever see those. But everything else, dude, that's evidence. That shit is evidence. So it, you know, maybe there's some things here and there. You know, we saw a clip of that guy being dragged behind the truck. Ben did show that in his video. But he's got an entire freaking hard drive. And it would be, in my opinion, and I don't think Ben would do this because I think he's smart, but in my opinion, it would be irresponsible of Ben to just like upload everything onto Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever, be like, here we go, here's all the proof. That shit needs to be submitted to authorities. It needs to be investigated. It needs, if anything goes to trial, whether it's criminal or civil, it needs to be used as evidence. So yeah, if we don't end up seeing a lot of what's on that hard drive anytime soon, I think that's why, and I think that is Ben being smart. And I think ultimately, if he chooses to do that, which I hope and think he will, that's the best case scenario for a happy ending here. That's basically all I'm saying. Yeah, if there's nasty stuff, I hope Ben turns it over. I think he would, absolutely. So, I mean, it's Ben's the only one who knows right now, and all of his team knows obviously what's on that hard drive. But according to that Cadis Silvis guy, he says that there is video evidence of Holly being taken advantage of. So, yeah. Yep, that's that. Anyway, I forgot why I was talking about that. Oh, because she was saying that the essay accusations aren't real. She doesn't believe it because it never happened to her. Yeah, okay. All right.
And I just don't think he would physically be able to do that to another person.
Sure.
But I also don't know for sure. I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, listen, I don't want to let anybody down, but literally my children will be awake in an hour for school. So we're going to sadly have to start winding this down a bit. But I just want to repeat myself again. Lindsay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. We're all curious. We're all curious to know what's on that hard drive, of course. But the best thing, and what I would assume that Ben is doing, would be to let the authorities handle it. Because otherwise it's a Onision situation. Do you guys remember when Chris Hansen was doing that whole expose on Onision, and he had some like assistant guy, and there was a laptop. I don't remember. It was one of Onision's exes who had a laptop and mailed it to Chris Hansen's dumbass assistant guy, and I think it just like was never turned over to authority. It basically got into the wrong hands, and the whole investigation got fucked up. Like, basically, Onision got away scot-free because the people with the evidence didn't go to the authorities with it. They fucked around with it. So I'm sure that Ben is smart enough to know that if there is evidence of any sort of crimes or, you know, civil wrongdoing, at the very least, despite our extreme curiosity that I'm sure we all have. I mean, honestly, like, I'm curious for someone to tell me what's on there, but I don't want to see any of it. Like, because I can't even sit through the parts of the tours that are on Russ's YouTube channel right now, let alone what actually happens during it. Because, like, he edits it and cuts out all the shit in the middle. Like, when you watch all of the extreme, like, the ones with the Marine, I think that might be the most viewed one, actually. There's the Mario and Luigi brothers, there's the Marine, there's plenty of other ones where that came from that have millions of views on YouTube. However, he cut everything out. All the actual scorcher that was happening. He cut it all out. So all you see is like the beginning, some little spots in the middle, and the end. I can't even sit through that shit. It's that disturbing. So let alone, I would like someone to tell me what's on those video files, but I don't think that personally I could sit through it. I think it's a lot. I think it would be a lot. But yeah, the curiosity is real, guys. I get it. But let's not pester Ben and be like, what's on the hard drive? Like, show us what's on the hard drive. Leak everything. You know, it wouldn't be responsible, I don't think. But that's just my opinion.
Thank you for joining us. I want to just let everyone understand once again that this platform is certainly not taking any sides. We're giving everyone involved in this their chance to have their say. We're going to be talking to as many different people as we can. And I just don't want, you know, anyone to misinterpret what we're doing here. Everyone gets a chance to say their piece in their way, how they see it and how they've experienced it. And Lindsay, I think there's no better person to sort of tap into the earlier years of your dad than you. And I think your whole experience and your points towards the mental health are totally 100% valid. And I think you're incredibly
We're almost done.
brave for being here. And I really just want to thank you for reaching out and for doing that, because I know a lot of people have been really interested in what you have to say. I think we're talking to Carol tomorrow night, which should be quite exciting. So
Never thought our life would end up like this.
yeah,
It's just crazy. I never thought this.
I
would
really
work.
hope that Ben doesn't post. And I mean, I can see possibly, because I'm sure Ben's been watching through all of those files and stuff, I could see him maybe finding one or two to leak that maybe aren't as extreme, that maybe don't hold any legal, or I guess justifiable legal action to them. So maybe, you know, I could see him doing that possibly to Patreon or something. But if we're to believe what Cadis Silvis boy says, it sounds like there's like actual fucking evidence of a crime on that hard drive. So I don't know. We'll see.
It would end up, but I think it's important.
Yeah, I often think that same sentence, but for totally different reasons. You know, like
I'm
it's
sure
a
we
crazy.
all do.
This has been a crazy day. But please know, once we get off this, the app that we sent you to where our community is, I'll just give you a message on there, just so if you can respond to me on it, just so I know how you know how everybody use it.
I know I've seen a few people questioning whether or not Ben actually has the real hard drive. He put a video clip of the guy being dragged behind the truck, and that, if you've been in the McCamey Manor lore and in the storyline for a while, you would know that that's like never before seen footage, that it's all been speculated that it exists. No one had ever seen it. Even the guy who it happened to was like, I don't have the footage of that, because that's the kind of shit that Russ would take out of the haunts. That's the shit he would edit out. So that's why the whole hard drive thing was so important. Ben posted video evidence of that, so he has that at least. There's got to be more where that came from. I personally believe that Ben has it, because where else would he have gotten that clip from, you know? Stranger things have happened. No, I think there's a lot that we don't know, and I think that Ben very clearly, it would be irresponsible of him to be like, here's the person who gave me this hard drive, you know? Especially because he was bleeping out that guy's name who like lost his family and everything. I don't know if he's the one who sent it to Ben. I think that's like speculated, but maybe he just knew who had it, you know? I don't want to speculate on that because that guy's been through enough. But I personally believe he has it, like, because where else would he have gotten that video clip, you know? No one had ever seen it until now. There's been people for years trying to get a hold of videos like that, of that video particularly. It's been spoken about. It's been a mythology in McCamey Manor universe, whether or not it exists and whether or not it happened. So for Ben to actually have that footage and to have shown it, yeah, I think he has it.
And I'll basically put some of the community around you so that you know you've got points of contact. No one's going to harass you, and we'll make sure that
it wasn't the actual hard drive.
You're safe. And there's a couple of community members that I really would like.
I think that the Cadis Silvis guy had the hard drive, and I mean, he did say that Holly's S tape was destroyed, but come on, really? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Maybe. I don't know. None of us really know. But the one thing we do know is, like, that hard drive in particular, I'm sure the hard drive that Ben has right now is not the hard drive. It's probably an external hard drive with all that shit copied onto it. Like a copy, yeah.
To talk to specifically.
Yeah.
And they may be able to offer you some good advice, and
That would be great.
wicked. Well, listen, again, when you wake up and you wonder what the hell you did last night, we're here for you.
I'm really not drunk. It's really water.
It's fine. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine.
I wish it was alcohol.
It's just, you know, this has obviously been something you could have talked about for years, and you've chose to do it tonight. And, you know, I just want you to know.
Yeah, I know that Cadis Silvis guy said that he deleted it. But there was someone in my chat when we were watching it last, whenever it was, 2 or 3 days ago. Someone in my chat who is very close to the McCamey Manor situation was telling me that he didn't actually delete it. And I was like, do you have proof of that? Like, what? But that guy's turned out to be pretty credible from, excuse me, my understanding. I've been added to, like, some group chats with people who are close to the situation. And he seems like a credible source, so I don't know where he gets that from, or I don't even know what his involvement really was, but yeah, he seemed to know what he was talking about. So he hasn't been wrong. Like, basically, any of these people have not been wrong this whole time. There's just hasn't been evidence until now about a lot of things. So, yeah, yeah.
We're here for you for as long as you need, and we're here for you to present anytime you want. Okay, so
Thank you. That means a lot.
everybody that's been in the side chat this evening, thank you for joining us. Matt, thank you very much for being awesome. The admin
Okay, you know
teams,
what?
I'm sure, have got
I think we can end it here. There's only a minute left of that, so I'm sure there's not going to be any more bombs dropped on that. Yeah, I'm still live, but we about to be done. Danny doing that whole stripper cut. That shit was funny, dude. Yeah, no, Quinlan doesn't block people for being critical. I don't care if people are critical of me. I do care if people are spreading misinformation about Russ and Mckamy Manor. So I would imagine that that's what Quinlan's looking out for. But I've had my trust in Quinlan for a long time, so they know what they're talking about. But anyway, you can still feel bad for it, but it needs to be done. Oh, what am I missing? I don't know. Sorry, I'm catching up on the last of chat here. If interested, check out the interview titled Surviving the Lies of Surviving Life. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I mean, like, how big was Surviving Life back when this was going on, though? You know? I hadn't heard of it. I mean, he was getting donations and stuff, so I guess they had to have had some of an audience. He keeps talking about having a team. I just know that, like, they are trying to come back. There's, like, a Surviving Life YouTube channel up again, and they're posting regularly. But they only get, like, 30 views per video, so it's like they don't have a big audience. Audience? Oh my god, Savannah, go to sleep. I have to go. I've been live for 3 hours. The guy getting drugged by Russ's truck is definitely proof that Ben has the hard drive. That's what I think, too. I mean, you never know. But also, at the same time, I think Ben has proven himself to be pretty damn credible at this point. He may be a total goofball, but I think he's credible as fuck at this point. I don't think that he would lie about anything. Yeah. CJ saying Ben was empathizing with Russ and feeling bad for affecting him. I mean, that's kind of human. Wait, Ben was empathizing with Russ and feeling bad. I feel like you can empathize with Russ and then immediately backtrack on that empathy when you remember what it is that he was actually doing. Like, you could feel bad for someone for losing their family and, you know, oh, my kids won't talk to me anymore. It's like, okay, but Russ, like, they don't talk to you because of you. Like, you had every opportunity to fix your shit. Like, it's hard to feel sorry for someone when that's the situation. Yeah, it is a delicate topic, but I am really deep into it right now. I started scripting a new deep dive on a totally different topic today, and then Ben released his video, and I'm like, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm done researching today. But yeah, I'm trying to, like, start working on other topics of things, but it's really hard when there's so much going on around Mckamy Manor right now. There really is a lot. It's popping off, and for good reason. So, like, I would be watching all these videos in depth, whether or not I was live streaming them to you guys or not. I just have more fun doing it this way. The next live, I don't know. Let me think. Tomorrow my husband won't be home, so I'd have no one to watch the kids while I stream. Friday, maybe? I don't think I have plans on Friday. Might be Friday, because this weekend I have, like, a memorial to go to. My uncle died a week and a half ago, so his memorial get together with family and stuff is this weekend. So yeah, okay, so I'll try to do Friday if nothing else comes up, but I think this weekend is going to be a busy weekend for me. I don't even know what the next Surviving Life. Let me look. Who's on the next one? I know Carol's on one coming up. I just haven't really looked. Let me see here. Mckamy Manor exposed. Hold on, I'm going to the playlist here.
Group he had.
Shut up. Okay, part 5. I'm just gonna skip through real quick. We got I don't know who any of these people are. Here, look. I'll show you. Hold on. This isn't it. This is it. There's Creepchild, Morgan, Twinkie the llama. Yeah, I'm not really sure who all these people are. So, I'll go ahead and pre-watch all of these. I'll pre-watch this, and if it's interesting, we can watch it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not really sure. Oh, Holly's there. See, this is why I'm like, there are people saying that Holly backtracked on everything after she said all this, but like she was involved in a lot of these, you know? Yeah, so I don't know. I know Dan Truelove was in one of these interviews as like he was a contestant. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. No, it's all good. Thank you for all the nice messages about my uncle. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like we knew it was coming for a long time. So it's sad, of course. Death is sad, but it's one of those things where it's like it's hard to feel bad for someone who kind of like doesn't take care of themselves and lets them, you know. It was a situation where he had diabetes and ended up with kidney failure and then stopped going to dialysis and stuff. So it's like, okay. What do you expect? You don't take care of yourself, that shit happens. But anyway, yeah, no, I appreciate it. But no, I'm doing good. I'm good. Some other members of my family maybe are not doing as good. But yeah, it's just going to be a weekend. So it's goofy because these took place years ago. Wait, what's goofy? The interviews? Yeah, goofy, maybe not. But it's still fascinating. I don't know. Yeah, no, yeah, I should get off of this. It's sad, but you can't hurt people and get away with it. Yeah, for sure. I feel you. Sorry. Still, okay. Wait, what? My deep dives are top tier and my voice is beautiful? Really? I always feel like my voice is so annoying. I have like really bad vocal fry. Like, I don't know if it's from like being in a band or whatever, but like my vocal cords, I don't have like a smooth voice. I'm just always like, ah. Anyway, Pickle Ron exploited Holly. I think so too. Oh, it's hard. I mean, like, I know people were talking about, there was like a podcast where they were like exposing Ron for being a creep also, which like that doesn't surprise me, I guess. But exploiting Holly, having her on all of these interviews and stuff, I can see that, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Hey guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being you. I appreciate you all being here. I'll try to stream again on Friday. I'll watch through the next interview or 2 or 3 or whatever and find a good one to stream. Yeah, we'll do that. Hopefully before the weekend, because I don't think I'll be able to stream at all on the weekend. But okay, you guys, as in the wise words of Jerry Springer, please take care of yourselves and each other. I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye.